Well, hello. Hi, friends. My name's host Eric. I'm the host of an internet television program known as Talking with Famous People. On this program, we discuss a lot of different things. But one of the things we like to discuss is the subject of intimate conjoinment. Now, people often mistake this expression for meaning something along the lines of sexual intercourse. No, intimate conjoinment is a function of proper relations with due. So it's a little bit different than sexual intercourse because intimate conjoinment does not involve any physicality at all. It's when you come here to this live stream and intimately conjoin with me and Rachel talking about stuff. It's a pretty special relationship. So much so that sometimes we'll even call you randomly. You never know. We called Zandy today.
Yeah, we did.
That's how intimate it gets around here. That's pretty intimate. You know, if you're gonna be seen by your peers, spread-eagled, rectum gaping, then you want to be comfortable with those people. You know.
Yeah, you do.
You want to be comfortable with them so that when they see you at your most embarrassing, you're like, well, whatever, it's just Joe. So when they see you, you know, role playing the role of Little Bo Peep in a sex dungeon production of Little Bo Peep Gets Humped by a bunch of guys, they won't hold you in contempt or disregard. They'll just say, that's Julie. That's Julie. That's just how she is. You know?
Wow, that's very progressive.
Yeah. That's Julie. That's Julie is also the name of her one-act play, by the way.
Of her one-act play?
Yeah, she has a one-act play. It's all about her time playing the role of Little Bo Peep and the sex dungeon production of Little Bo Peep Gets Humped by a lot of guys.
Oh, so we get like an inside kind of intimate view of what it was like for her, or
well, it's based on a Reddit AMA session.
That is very progressive.
It's a new media crossover. She also has an OnlyFans, but OnlyFans is the only place where she doesn't take her clothes off. That's the weird thing.
Really?
She's trying to. She says, you know, rewrite the paradigm, or, you know,
oh, she is.
retake the language.
I
That's
understand.
what she says, but one concurrent viewer. Wah wah. And that's Rachel. I wonder if it's because of the title. Let's intimately conjoin.
Maybe.
Might be.
Let's see, did I get a notification? It could be that everyone's on Discord and they're fighting there. You popped up as a...
On Discord?
No, YouTube for a thing. Let me see. Just on Discord. Because usually it will. It could be.
How do I go to... How do I go to my main page thing?
Go to the left. All the way down, all the way to the left.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
I see. I'm going to go into the voice channel. Hello, voice channel. If you would like to join me here in the voice channel, there is a link to it somewhere, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's right. Yeah. Copy. Okay. And now I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to put this back now. And I'm going to indicate here as well. If you'd like to just talk with me with your voices, you're welcome to join me here in the Discord server. I don't really have a particular topic today. I had a number of possible topics in mind, actually, but I'm feeling kind of, maybe we all are, eye-rolly plus sad about the new state lockdown, stay-at-home order. We've got a statewide alert on our phone, stay at home, COVID, yeah. I mean, this has gone on for such a long time, it's just depressing at this point.
Yeah. Now, why, did they say why they were having a lockdown again?
Well, because COVID rates are skyrocketing. Which is, of course, what I said at the very beginning. The reason this is a bad idea to do this, one of the reasons is that if they are right about the disease, the lockdown won't work, obviously. Well, what? Obviously. Well, because if it's that contagious, then we're not going to avoid it. We're just simply not going to avoid people getting it without taking such extreme measures that nobody could possibly justify those kind of extreme measures. The key thing to remember about this whole COVID thing, especially regarding California, is California has 400 deaths a year. 400,000 deaths a year. So far in California, we've had 20,000 deaths from COVID, purportedly. Okay, so California shows 20,000 deaths and 1.4 million confirmed cases. Now note, it's likely I've had COVID at least one time. That's not in this number of cases. I may have had it twice. That's not in this number of cases. It's likely Rachel had COVID. That's not in this number of cases. So, for every case that they have confirmation that it's a case, there are at least 10 more that they don't have any stats on. Now, obviously, none of those ones that they don't have stats on die. So we realized that, wow, this is really a very gentle pandemic. It's incredibly kind pandemic, the way it operates,
Yeah.
8 persistent COVID-19 myths. Why people believe them. Eric, it is contagious. I know. It's super contagious. I know. That's my point. It's super contagious. I'm sorry about your grandfather. I'm sorry he died today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry too.
And, it's like, I don't doubt that your grandfather's death will be attributed to COVID. Even though the fact that he went and had to go for an urgent surgery indicates that really the main part of the health problem was something else. But still, that's fine. It gets attributed to COVID. I'm sorry for your loss. And I've never said it's not contagious. My whole point is that it's too contagious. That's why we can't take these sort of measures that won't work, Grass eater, don't. If you're gonna let anybody be a dick about this, let it be me, because your FE's not good enough for this. Trust me. Don't go getting all let me make this mistake, not you. Okay? You don't want to be pushing on people when they have a family member who just died. Well, that's why I also anticipated that and preempted it with, let me make this mistake, not you. I'm sorry, Diamond. I should have prioritized your emotions. So, regarding the lockdown, it's important to remember what my point was originally. My point was not that COVID's not real. My point was not that COVID's not novel. My point was not that COVID's not contagious or anything like that. My point was that if COVID is exactly what they say it is, then this quarantine is not going to work. The best it could possibly do is delay, which it's done. But the thing is, if in fact there's no immunity garnered from it once you catch it that lasts very long, then we just need to accustom ourselves to being in a world where people are always catching COVID until there's a meaningful treatment or vaccine for it. Of course, the good news is most people who catch it show no symptoms at all. So it's not a big deal. I mean, the bottom line is this. Okay, fine. A lot of people have died from COVID. Fine. My point is this. In an average year in California, we have 400,000 deaths. This year, in the 9 months or so that COVID's officially been here, we've had 20,000 deaths from COVID. Let's say we prevented another 80,000 deaths from COVID with our nonsense. Why don't we care about the 400,000 dead people that happen every year? What makes this 20,000 dead so special? You know? What makes this 20,000 so special? Why is it that we have to do so much to prevent these tens of thousands of deaths, but not the other 400,000 deaths that happen every single year? Why is it we have to do all this shit for these disease consequences and nothing of the sort for AIDS, even though 700,000 people died of AIDS last year? I mean, should we really be letting people leave the house? You know, not knowing whether they have AIDS or not knowing whether they're going to be having sexual intercourse with people or not? I don't think so.
I don't think they would want it that way either.
I mean, or how about cancers? So many things cause cancer, apparently. Air pollution causes cancer. Why not lock down the world until there's no air pollution? I mean, after all, it may be a little bit longer term. Same outcome. We could prevent, I'm sure, a lot of deaths if we made it illegal for anyone to do their own housework. You know how many deaths happen in accidental falls in the home? Shit tons. Right? So maybe we should preclude people from standing on ladders at their own house. the key thing is the exact same message that I had at the beginning is the same message I have today, and it's the only message that makes any sense. Let it run its course. Let it run its course. Give everyone fully informed. Let them choose what to do with their faces and their masks and their whatever, and let the disease run its course. Meanwhile, work on vaccines or whatever. Stop trying to control everything. It's not working, as I said it wouldn't. Now, if you recall back in the day, they said we need to flatten the curve. We need to flatten the curve and prevent hospitals from becoming overrun. So why is that the worst possible scenario? Hospitals being overrun. So what if it does happen? To prevent hospitals from being overrun, are we willing to do anything? I mean, at some point, we have to pull a Hall and Oates and say, I would do anything for you. I would do almost anything that you want me to. But I can't go for that. No. No can do. I can't go for that.
No can do.
You have to, at some point we have to say that.
You do.
And at some point we have to say, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, we will go to great lengths to keep ourselves safe, keep our citizenry safe, to avoid catching diseases and stuff, to generally, minimize the amount of easily minimizable risks in the world. And we won't do anything for that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to get you another cup of coffee. No problem. Sure, I can take your plate to the kitchen. What? No, I won't do that for you. Oh, I won't murder your stepmother and steal her car for you. Sorry. I will do the first two things and I won't do the last. Understanding that there are reasonable costs to pay for a predicted outcome and unreasonable costs to pay for a predicted outcome. No matter how precious the predicted outcome may seem, it's called being a grown-up. Being a real grown-up. Real grown-ups aren't talking about COVID the way that anybody I hear talking about COVID is talking about it. Those people who are talking about COVID are not real grown-ups. There's only one grown-up conclusion to draw about this. Let it run its course. Don't afford it disparate amount of attention and energy, or certainly not more than it deserves. If you're going to justify affording this much attention, it better be commiserately worse. We are behaving as though this were airborne Ebola. If it were airborne Ebola, then I'd be screaming that we're not doing enough. We need to have a single day to purchase up on shit to stock up on, and we need to have everybody have just one day assigned a month and minimize the amount of contact anybody has. Ideally, it could all be delivery. I would be, if it were airborne Ebola, if it were a serious disease, I'd be out in front for fixing this problem. I'd be the one saying, okay, this is what actually needs to be done to save the situation. Because the bottom line is, this is way too serious. Whatever your ideologies are about liberty or whatever, fuck off. Airborne Ebola, we need to have a serious lockdown, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So I want to stress, I am not saying that this response is never appropriate. Grown-ups link the amount of response to the significance of the problem. Children think the sky is falling. And it's about time for the grown-ups, the intellectually honest grown-ups, however few of us there are, and believe me, shockingly few intellectually honest grown-ups in the world. But they need to be the ones who are managing this shit, you know?
Yeah, they are.
Instead you've got people who are on my side, let it run its course. Well, I mean, that's why I'm saying, Evelyn asks, if it were airborne Ebola, I would be saying that we need to do it right. No, nobody's saying we need to do it right for this. What does do it right mean? Do it right means an actual full lockdown for beyond the duration of the incubation period, plus beyond the duration of the display of the disease. A full lockdown. That means maybe you have got a very select, small number of dedicated people who are devoted towards delivering food and stuff to people's houses when they order it. Well, I mean, Evelyn asks, the thing is, you're right. These kind of lockdown ideas are crazy. They're basically not even possible. But if the threat were airborne Ebola, then we might try to attempt something like that. And it would be justified, okay? It just drives home the fact that this is not airborne Ebola, and our half-assery of it is doing nothing.
Not to change the subject, but I want to say that this Jack from Weed Mart is actually like impressing me.
Let me try it. I'm not sure if I tried it yet or
I haven't
not.
tried it yet.
I don't know which one I tried.
It snaps off.
Let me give it a shot.
They impressed me with this batch.
And this wasn't even on the Conno shelf. This was on the VIP shelf.
Yeah.
So the thing is, note, now is the time for us to stop and look around and say, okay, who's gotten this right so far? Well, I have for sure. And what does he say? What he says is that there's no disputing that COVID is a real thing, not a hoax, not some big conspiracy, that it's legitimately kills people, that it can be quite dangerous for old people with pre-existing conditions, etc. Okay? All of those things are true. For people who are denying those things, they are arguing purportedly for the same side of the argument as me, but I don't want those people on my team at all because they're not arguing for the same side of the argument as me. Ultimately, I'm arguing for let's be grown-ups. Not any specific position on this exactly. Although, in this instance, being grown-ups involves some pretty specific positions. But I am not arguing that we should make masks voluntary, officially make masks voluntary because of whatever reason you might say. Like, for example, I'm not saying that we shouldn't make masks mandatory because of rights. I'm saying we shouldn't make masks mandatory because not making masks mandatory is the grown-up thing to do right now. And you're being children. I'm not going to engage in your health theater any longer. I mean, I will. I have to. I have no choice. But I'm not going to allow it to be... Okay, so Winston's mom says, if leveraging epidemiological principles to evaluate Sweden's COVID response. Remember, again, what my advocacy is. What my advocacy is to let it run its course. Some countries have included COVID-19 attributable mortality with only confirmed cases, whereas others have included probable cases based on symptoms. Some countries have included cases confirmed or probable where COVID-19 was assumed to be the cause of death, where others have included all cases where someone died with COVID-19, irrespective of whether it was directly caused the death. Each decision will greatly affect attributable mortality and limit the utility of comparisons of mortality estimates across countries. Risk-tailored strategies. The goal of quote-unquote flattening the curve was integral to both viral mitigation and viral suppression strategies. Right. But remember, when you're making these arguments, Winston's mom, you're missing my point, right? My point is not that we should have done a better job of mitigating or mitigated in a different way, or that there weren't arguments in favor of flattening the curve. My point is we should let it run its course. That's my advocacy. Let it run its course. Nobody's done that. There's not any country that's done that. Keep people informed and keep any centralized decision making out of the matter. There's not any country that's done that. That's what I'm advocating for. But the hospital will be open! Who gives a fuck? That's not the end of the world. This is the end of the world. People die. What's far, far worse is not for somebody to die, but for you to keep them alive and take away their life. You know, I'd rather have the death penalty than being locked in a cage the rest of my life. I'd rather take my chances, catch COVID and die of it, than spend the rest of my life locked in my fucking house.
Seriously.
Let it run its course. You're hollering. Yeah, let it run its course. That's been my advocacy from the get-go. Well, what should we do about it? Nothing.
Oh, can we talk about how you manifested your cigarettes this morning?
You have to let me change. You have to just let me shift gears a little bit more slowly than that.
Sure.
Sorry, I was thinking about you. I was thinking about you earlier, Winston's mom, and it was making me upset because you're saying check the stats now. Well, now your advocacy will change, Eric, once you see the new stats. This is exactly what I predicted. This is exactly the consequence of not doing what I said in the first place. Let it run its course.
Yeah.
That we would, okay, everybody stop breathing. There, fine. Now we're not making any noise. We're safe. Okay, I think we can breathe again. Oh, no, shh, they can hear us. Stop breathing. You can't, that's not a good solution. Right? It's not a solution at all. It's not a solution to say, everybody stop living. Because if we keep living normally, some people will die. It's not a solution. It's being a child. People who think that we should take centralized action regarding COVID are being children. They're not being adults about the matter. An adult would say, okay, so you're asking us to take an extraordinary, meaning highly unusual and disproportionate compared to other kind of response to this thing specifically. Why? Why aren't we devoting a comparable amount of resources to other comparable sources of death? I mean, children say, well, what's important to me is what's most important, and ignore everything else. Children think that because they saw a TV show one time where a big wave killed a bunch of people on an island, that they shouldn't go to the beach because they're scared to go to the beach now because they saw how dangerous the beach can be. And adults say, okay, yes, it's true, the world has risk in it, and we move forward as normal anyway. This is the difference between adults and children. I can't believe how incredibly childish the world is being about COVID. I know it hurts to be aware that there's a pandemic going around and shit tons of people are going to get sick and die and there's nothing we can do about it. It hurts. Grown-ups face reality. They don't make things worse by denying it.
True that.
We do have to manage risk, Joey. Absolutely. So I'm saying, how much of our total energies right now should be devoted towards the 700,000 people who died last year of AIDS? And the 700,000 people who died this year of AIDS? How much of our energy should be devoted towards that, Joey? Because, I mean, right now we're not devoting any of our energy towards that. Why do those people matter so much less than the victims of COVID? We've got something like 10 times as many cancer deaths as we do AIDS deaths. And there's a lot of money going in research going into cancer. But we know that a lot of cancers are caused by environmental factors, and we haven't necessarily nailed down what those environmental factors are now, yet. Why are we allowing people to move about the world? Encountering these environmental causes of cancer, knowing that we're killing people in the process. If you care so much about COVID, why do you care so little about all these other deaths? Why do those people matter so little to you? Because remember, you're guaranteeing that we not devote any attention or resources to any other causes of death besides COVID for the foreseeable future. Cancer is contained? Okay. Still causes more deaths than AIDS. I mean, well, I agree, Skygear. So then we have to look at comparables such as viruses, swine flu, things like that. Sure. So I agree. I agree with all the things you're saying there. None of the things I listed spreads exponentially, which means all the things I listed are potentially solvable, unlike COVID. Keeping in mind that most people with strong immune systems don't get any symptoms at all, even if every single human being in the world were infected, wouldn't much matter, would it? A lot of people would die. Now, the thing is this. Well, sure. Why would that not sound like BS? This is what I've been saying about this COVID thing in the first place. If they're right about it, the lockdowns won't work. And they haven't. And now we have bigger numbers than we've ever had before. What makes you think you can solve it by doing the same thing again? It didn't work last time. That's what I mean by being grown-ups. I'm not saying that because it's exponential, it doesn't matter or something. I'm saying we have to acknowledge when something is a reality we're going to have to live with versus a potential problem we have to prevent. We have to be able to make the distinction between those two things. Now, importantly and significantly, we have a perfect corollary to COVID. It's not quite exponential, but just about. And what is that? HPV. Human papilloma virus was a STD that nobody had 40 years ago. Okay? Now, listen, everybody. Listen. And it was spreading like absolute wildfire. Mm-hmm. Because, number one, it didn't really have any symptoms for most people. It was only some people who showed symptoms. Number two, a lot of people had it and didn't know they had it, and had sex with people, etc. But at fairly early on in that epidemic, we realized, oh, hey, it's a new STD and it's spreading like wildfire.
Yeah.
So, what happened? Well, pretty much everybody got it, the whole population, and then they came out with the vaccine, and then younger people like Rachel are vaccinated against it.
I would say at the tail end of like when this, because I personally like 3 people who had it, like, and they got it like so quick and easy. It was crazy. It really was like spreading like wildfire, like you said. And my doctor, whom I trusted, because I had gone to, because she was my gynecologist when I was like a teen, said, hey, there's this new vaccine, I think you should take it. So I did. But it like really was just based on like trusting her and her opinion of it, and I was lucky because I do not have it because I took the vaccine. But
And when I say let it run its course, let me stress, what I mean is no centralized control. Let localities decide. And you might say, well, that's guaranteed to fail because people from different localities will have different, and then it's going to be like it is now. Well, it is like it is now anyway. And at least if you allow the choice to get to the smallest level as possible, then we'll get as close as possible to the right people making the right decisions. So in other words, Winston's mom talked about Sweden's mitigation policy. She put that link about Sweden's mitigation policy. I didn't finish reading it. I'm not sure what the point she's trying to make about it is exactly. But note that I've never advocated that we take Sweden's approach.
are people in the chat? Discord?
I'm in the live. I think I'm in the voice channel on Discord.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I am. If you want to talk to me with voice, I'm on the voice channel on Discord. Yes, I am there. Okay, good. Okay, so so this is good. I like what you put here, Winston's mom. What this basically says is, for people who think that Sweden did not intervene very much in this COVID thing, that you are wrong. That Sweden was very much centrally involved in the processes here, and it just wasn't. It was more carefully and more nuanced, and done in a more nuanced way than it was elsewhere. That in fact there was a lot of centralized control and stuff in Sweden. Well, fortunately, I'm not arguing we do shit like Sweden. And that's why this is the beautiful thing. This is why it's so frustrating to me when people argue in favor of the same policy for the wrong reasons. Because in my mind, you shouldn't go with the policy then. If that's the reasons if I were giving those reasons, then you shouldn't agree with me. You know? Do I believe that wearing a mask is not good? I don't think it's not good. I mean, I suppose that it's likely that people who have COVID and who are wearing a mask are less likely to transmit it to others than people who have COVID and are not wearing a mask. It's potentially likely also that if you're wearing a mask and don't have COVID, that you're less likely to contract it. And I would I absolutely support your right and the importance of you thinking about those issues and making that decision for yourself, for sure. I wouldn't try to impose upon you what I think you should do with your health and body and face and stuff like that. But if that's a priority to you to prevent catching COVID, then sure. If you know you have it already, or if you know you're sick, if you have symptoms, stay home. That's just a reasonable societal request that you should be perfectly willing to adhere to. So, German Chancellor Angela Merkel has warned that up to 70% of the country's population, some 58 million people, could contract the coronavirus. Well then, why not just stop having... So it's like, we can either all get coronavirus and spend $10 trillion, or we could just all get coronavirus. I like the second one better. Don't you guys?
Let me know what you think.
Why don't I hear him then? Am I muted on the TV or something? Oh, that's right. Discord has its own audio settings. Fucking Discord. I gotta change my audio settings probably.
I thought that you would...
Well, it's like if I want to include it, if I'm, you know how it is. No, it's on the right output device. Whoever it is who's talking in here isn't actually talking. They have to figure out how to do push to talk or something. I don't know.
I don't think there is anyone else in there.
There's no one else there now, but Winston's mom or somebody was saying they were trying to talk. Well,
Oh.
it wasn't on my end that they failed to accomplish that.
Nope.
It was on their end.
Yeah.
So,
I'm listening to you.
okay, so this is one of the points I'm making, Joey. Why do we place overstressing the hospitals at such a high premium? I mean, after all, in the status quo, the way it is now, some centralized authority has determined that some people are essential and some people are not essential. Now, they've tried to position it as jobs, not as people, right? That these are essential and non-essential jobs. But that's not what they mean. They mean some people are essential and some people are inessential. Because after all, let's say you are a yoga teacher, and that's really, who you think of yourself as being. It's central to your identity, central to who you are. To be declared non-essential in your work, for a lot of people, is to be declared non-essential as a person. Not me, maybe, but for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Secondly, we know that it's not about actual essentiality, because what is open? Liquor stores and weed stores. So I might think cigarettes are essential, and drinkers might think alcohol is essential, and weed smokers think weed is essential, but they are no more essential than my yoga class, right? If I'm into yoga, if that's my drug of choice, that's essential. But if it's not my drug of choice, I don't care about yoga class.
Yeah,
That's not
sure.
essential. But for me, weed's essential.
Yeah.
And the state agrees with me. Great.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, state. Thank you, state of California, for agreeing with me that weed is essential. That lady whose mental health depends on her ability to join that yoga class 4 days a week because it's all she's got in an increasingly disastrous life, that things aren't going well right now and shit. And then you take that away from her and isolate her. And she killed herself. You've really made it clear to her that she's not essential. You're not essential. Your job's not essential. The things you think are important aren't essential. And I'm going to take them all away from you. Because I decide who's essential, and I'm some central authority figure.
And then and then it's given back, and then it's taken away again, and it's like, what the hell?
Now, of course, if they were gonna do that in the first place, what would the only possible way in which anybody could possibly have supported that reasonably is if those advocating that we do that were saying, I guarantee you, if we do this after 1 month, there will be no more COVID. I pointed out the opposite will happen. I was right. So anybody who agreed with these lockdowns in the first place should stop trying to think about this themselves and listen to me and just adopt my positions. Because you're obviously not qualified to think about it. You weren't qualified to think about it in the first place. You obviously, therefore, still are not qualified to think about it if you still disagree with me in any way. Because I've been proved right. The best it could possibly do was delay the spikes. Puts them to a later date, possibly. At the expense of hundreds of millions, billions of lives. Maybe not actual shooting them dead kind of life, but billions of lives put on hold. Billions of lives that are rendered inessential to society as a whole.
And honestly, like, who gets to judge?
No, H, and this is the other thing is, this is what I'm talking about, bad ideas. When bad ideas are said, everybody suffers. So somebody advocated in the White House, somebody in the Trump administration advocated that we let it run its course so that we attain herd immunity. That's not the kind of virus coronavirus is. That's why it was compared with the common cold in the first place. You can't get immunity to the common cold. That's why they're having to use this weird kind of vaccine. It's not. And if you are in the Trump administration, you're saying we should approach meow in order to get herd immunity. Well, then, why should anybody listen to you at all?
Yeah, some people won't.
I mean, nobody should. It's like, if those were the arguments I had presented to me, I would say, well, we shouldn't do what he says. At least we shouldn't do what he says until he affirms it better, because he utterly failed to affirm it there. When it first came out, Trump was right about what we should do, but his reason was he had a hunch. Well, of course you shouldn't do it then for that reason. Reasons matter more than the advocacy itself. The reasons decide the advocacy, not the other way around.
I hate this topic.
I mean,
I'm so over it. I don't mean to.
No, I know. I feel you. I don't like the topic either. I continue to be periodically shocked and stunned and amazed.
I know.
That, people who are smart people, due to a confluence of a variety of factors, refuse to be grown-ups about this.
I know. That's what I don't like. It's like...
No.
Yeah, and then we're going round and round in loops. Like,
I'm going to pretend this isn't health theater. I'm going to pretend this matters. I'm going to pretend, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to saving lives when I stay home. I'm skeptical of it, for sure. I'm not going to take it right away, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. There's lots of reasons to be skeptical of it.
Yeah.
If for no other reason, and the simplest of those being, it's a new kind of vaccine. It's not been tried before.
They pay people to, like, test for it. So let those people be the, guinea pigs.
Okay, so Grass Eater said, I heard that people who are vaccinated become 6 times more likely to transmit the virus because RNA needs cooling and it'll be in an unstable condition and it'll be too warm because of the dry ice containers. Well, there's two vaccines, actually, and they need to be kept at different temperatures. Both of them are low temperatures, but only one of them is impractically low, as indicated there. The other vaccine, it is sustainable at dry ice kind of temperatures.
Oh,
so
it can withstand the cold.
So you're half right, sort of. But the thing I would say there is, try to make your point. Try to make your warrants one at a time. Your warrant here should just be the unstable condition, and just leave the impact off of that thing. So you say, I hear that people who are vaccinated become 6 times more likely to transmit the virus. Okay, and then you provide the warrant for why the vaccine is not working properly, and it's because of instability due to excessive warmth. So the thing is, your claim, your basic impact / claim, which is people become 6 times more likely to transmit the virus when they are vaccinated, is not supported by your second part of the thing you said. If you wanted it to be supported, you'd say people who get vaccinated have a higher than usual risk of getting an unstably sustained vaccination due to the cooling requirements. And if they do get such a vaccination, then they become because what you're saying is it does this bad impact because they're failing to meet conditions that are meetable. But actually, there are 2 vaccines anyway. So, and this is the other thing: is if you're gonna have an opinion about this and talk about it, you better be informed, right?
Yeah, it's like, seriously, because it's so like convoluted and diluted and twisted, and some people say one thing, others say another. It's just like, what the heck? But
I mean, it's important if I'm going to be talking about it that when grass eater, yeah, but the main difference between the 2 of them is one of them is much more send-outable because it is required to be stored at a less low temperature. Although both of them require a low temperature, one has a higher low temperature than the other. And this is the thing. It's like, so talk about this, I might run into grass eater bringing up one of the qualities of the vaccine that turns out to be a problem, which is for the vaccine to be this kind of vaccine to work, it can't ever reach a certain level of warmth or else it breaks in some way. So, and it's hard for them to transport it at such low temperatures. So the thing is, if I didn't know anything about that, then when grass eater came in and said that, I'd be like, oh, I got to research that or whatever, and that would be fine. But the best situation is this. He comes in, he points out something legitimate, and I am able to both say exactly where it's legitimate and where it's illegitimate and why. And that's being informed. That's being informed. And that's being informed and not having an agenda. So grass eater clearly has an agenda. You might say, Eric, you clearly have an agenda here. You're opposed to COVID nonsense. Well, that's true. I'm opposed to COVID nonsense. But that doesn't mean I have an agenda. It means I have done the agenda-less evaluation of the evidence, and as always, advocating for the best and most supported conclusion from that.
I think this Jack has zest.
Is it zesty?
I think it is.
I want to. You know what? That'll change the mood around here. It's time for me to read the poem I wrote. The poem I wrote last night.
You wrote a poem last night?
I told you about it in the car, Rachel. Gosh, your memory's not that great sometimes.
My memory is terrible.
That's true, but that's okay. Mine is too.
I know.
We're a terrible memory too, oh.
I know.
Here it is. Here's my poem.
Oh, yes! Now I remember.
Zesty Zandy's quest for candy bested Andy's restless shanty. When they fought for primacy, though Andy thought their chemistry, fanned by some reciprocity, might grandly make verbosity in hopes that such ferocity attains enough velocity to render her philosophy regarding cosmetology into a quick apology as Zandy's new ontology picks up on something ecology. Sexual attraction. This is Zandy getting a new boy.
That is a great poem.
Thanks.
Nicely done, Barry.
I think it's all one complete sentence too. Zesty Zandy's quest for candy bested Andy's restless shanty when they fought for primacy, though Andy thought their chemistry, fanned by some reciprocity, might grandly make verbosity, in hopes that such ferocity attains enough velocity to render her philosophy regarding cosmetology into a quick apology as Andy's new ontology picks up on something ecology, sexual attraction. I think it is a complete sentence. I think it's a grammatically correct complete sentence. It doesn't have.
You'd know best.
It doesn't have the commas it needs, but. So yeah, it would have to have a comma here. When they fought for primacy, though, Andy thought their chemistry, fanned by some reciprocity, might grandly make verbosity. I guess this should be a hyphen. In hopes that such ferocity attains enough velocity to render her philosophy regarding cosmetology into a quick apology. I guess this should probably be in parentheses. Now it's a complete sentence. Yeah, it's a complete sentence. It's also a good set of song lyrics, potentially. Zesties Andy's quest for candy bested Andy's restless shanty when they fought for primacy. And though Andy thought their chemistry, fanned by some reciprocity, might grandly make verbosity, in hopes that such ferocity attains enough velocity to render her philosophy regarding cosmetology into a quick apology, as Andy's new ontology picks up on something college-y indeed. Sexual attraction. There, does that cheer everybody up a bit? I think it does. Today we're doing cheerful poems for COVID, for a very COVID Tuesday. Cheerful poems for a very COVID Tuesday is a good name for a book of poems, I guess. Okay, well, so those sort of things aren't very useful points to make. Oceanfront Man says, Eric, there's too much money to be made by Fortune 500 companies by closing small businesses and making vaccines. Okay, so it is true that big corporations benefit from this policy, but I don't think that's what's behind it. I think your motivational calculus is not the appropriate one to use in this instance. That's called being a grown-up. Once again, right? It's nice. It would be great if we could always point to a bad guy and have the movie end with the bad guy getting justice. That would be great. But unfortunately, reality is a lot less sensible than that. I mean, the reason that this is all going down the way it is because people don't know how to be grown-ups when it comes to scary stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's the bottom line. And I'm frustrated because their childishness is impacting everybody, you know. But regardless, that's why we're going to write only cheerful poems today, okay? Cheerful words for joyous people, okay? That means all of you in the chat are required from this moment forward to be purely joyous.
I took advice from a tarot card reader that says that if you get the Hanged Man, like, you should hang yourself upside down to get a new perspective, like a literal new perspective. And it cracked my back really well. So I want to say thank you for metaphysical advice, person on the internet.
Okay. Hey there, Sarah, ISFP. Don't be saying meh to me, because huckleberries, just like you. He's sitting there and saying you. But Winston's mom don't like no squabble.
This is so Christmassy.
What rhymes with squabble? Oh, right. Thank you for mentioning the Christmas thing. Okay. And Ocean Man. I'm gonna leave out the front because it's too hard. An Ocean Man prefers turkey's gobble to sounds of conflict, scorn, and meow. While Diamond agrees with, yeah. Hey there, Sarah ISFP. Hey, Sarah ISFP. Don't be saying meh to me, 'cause Huckleberry's just like you. He's sitting there and saying ew. But Winston's mom don't like no squabble. An Ocean Man prefers a gobble to sounds of conflict, scorn, and meow. While Diamond now agrees with, yeah.
My dandy.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Agrees now, yeah.
Hey there, Tiny Man 66.
A man so tiny now arrives. A 6 in tow behind her drives another 6 to make a pair. She's driving in her underwear. Let's see. ISAJ12. Oh, when William spots her, flags her down, and says, "Here, don this wedding gown." And you shall change from 6 then your last name into Hamilton. Boom! Boom!
Good.
Boom! That's the story of Tiny Man 66 and William Hamilton getting married. In one poem. Boom!
One poem.
Oh, you prefer a gobble to sounds of conflict, scorn, and meow. Well, Diamond agrees now. Yeah. Well, Diamond agrees now. Yeah. It depends whether you want to say Diamond's name is 3 syllables or 4. You know?
Well, you call her Diamond. Even though it's a diamond.
Grass is not. Grass makes up just makes up less than all. The diet of the man this fall who goes by he who eats the grass and drives away with heaps of sass.
Dynamite.
Good and decent, tender friends whose skin's too thin to deal with him. There! Isn't that a nice poem?
Yes.
Grass makes up less than all the diet of the man this fall, who goes by he who eats the grass and drives away with heaps of sass. Good and decent tender friends, whose skin's too thin to deal with them.
That's good.
Thanks, darling.
Thank
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You just came here to make this harder, Genzennial?
Yeah, I was going to say, add my name.
All right, Genzennial. Lapalosa is hard, too. Genzennial, let's see. Genzennial.
Oh, Cloud.
Attained some cheer. For Xmas, time to him is dear. He bought some tinsel and some punch. He took a Christian out to lunch. He helped downtown with civic pride and accidentally knocked down the slide that children used in warmer times that sat unused in winter climes. Now most abashed, Genzennial approached already his plate plenty full. What's about Genzennial? Already his plate plentiful. Went home to fetch his tools and truck to then repair what he fucked up. The end. Pretty good, huh?
That is good.
Eric Bryce Van
Nicely done.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Get less likely to get knocked over there.
True that.
I want to be in an instant poetry writing contest. I'm so good at that. It's like my number one skill in life. Too bad nobody really values that skill very much, but
I value it.
I mean, yeah.
I was gonna ask you how much you would pay for like your poems.
I think nobody wants to pay anything for my poems. Nobody likes poetry. Do TI inferior types really do better on your TI test than, say, INTJ? No, they don't. And I wouldn't expect them to. In fact, I've often said when you have a function in the 4 or 5, that it's basically, that will give you no useful information about the person in typing them. Your fourth slot function and your fifth slot function give you very little useful information because it's the only one where you can really you really have both of them kind of conscious or highly accessible. So it's like, for me, that's SINI. And for Rachel, it's SENE. And, maybe INTJ, it's SENE as well, Yeah, I know there's 6 TI. What I'm saying is, the reason why, the question was, will a TI 4th person do better than TI 6th? And what I'm saying is, we can't really say a whole hell of a lot about TI 4th. Sometimes it can display better and sometimes worse.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, INTJs will perform better on TI tests than an ENFJ or an ESFJ. Yeah, for sure. But the interesting thing there is, I don't think that necessarily means that the INTJ incorporates that cognitive function into their life as well. I think, in fact, the 4th slot person probably incorporates it into their life more comfortably and better than does the INTJ. Only one can't be both? What do you mean? Well, yeah, I mean, my idea is that 4, 5, 6 can display. I mean, I don't think they can display as well as 1 or 2, or not 1, but I mean, kind of sometimes. It depends on the context. The important thing to remember is this: there's a couple factors. One is we understand any cognitive function as an agent. That's when we're paying attention to something through that cognitive function, or we understand it as a subject, which is to say, we can employ that. We can employ aspects. We can employ elements of an intentional manner to affect some sort of impact on things, right? So, for example, if Rachel knows something with her NI, then she's knowing something. It may be she's knowing something in her NI that is entirely internal, that she's not even involving anything from the external world at all. She's just thinking about something and realizing something. But it's different than if she's sort of unveiling NI in the world, saying like, well, actually, here's an NI truth.
Yeah.
She has a much less comfortable relationship with that, as a subject using NI than she does as an agent attending via NI. And then lastly, you could view it as an object, which is to say, how does she react to NI objects in the world? Now, no, the objects don't have any cognitive functions. They're not actually NI. But what I'm saying is that somebody with introverted intuition and or extroverted intuition or whatever produced a time object of some sort, and that time object will resonate as either true or not true accordingly. So, I've pointed out that it seems like in anime they always have flashbacks to their childhood, even though I don't care about their childhood. I don't need to know their backstory. No. That if in fact I had said something like this, in Japanese animation, it seems like.
Oh, hello, Trouble. No. We'll get you food.
It seems like they're always rushing the stories and passing details over too fast and not covering enough about the characters and stuff. You might sort of instinctually, reflexively kind of agree on FE grounds, but when you think about it, you'd be like, that's not really true of any anime that I've seen. It seems like they hammer shit to death, kind of, like, okay, I understand his motivation now. He was really bothered by the thing that happened to him in childhood, and he's super motivated, and he's got lots of guts, and I get it. That's what it actually is. So, as somebody who says words, let's say, onto the internet, I can say words that have been decided on with varying degrees of robust introverted intuition. If I'm an SI tool user like my dad, I'm almost always going to be saying things like, this is what I did and this is what I'm going to do. Or, this is what I saw about politics on TV, and this is how I think that's going to play on a practical level, maybe. But in contrast, when you hear me talking about things, I'm going to be talking about ideas that are purportedly more generalizable than I went to the store to get a loaf of bread. I went to the store to get a loaf of bread is something we can all identify with. We've all been there and done that. But the fact that I went to go to the store and get a loaf of bread today those words don't have any utility for you at all, unless you happen to be curious about
Comfy.
I had to torch my fart.
Oh.
You think I'm seeing their FI value? What are you talking about? Regarding what? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you're referring to, I guess I should say. And INTA, speaking for myself, does not like to be told she is wrong before she has finished her thought. TI likes telling people they are wrong regardless of whether the sentence is finished. That's true.
I actually had a question, because, like, I know that I say I know a lot, and some people are, like, annoyed by I know girls, but, like, do you think that I don't see myself as that, like, okay, good, cool. I never want to appear that, like, I'm, like, one of those people who are, like, yeah, I know, when I don't, like, when I don't know something, I usually say that I don't know.
I actually see you as somebody who generally dislikes having to reveal her intuition, which is kind of odd, but...
It's, you know why? Well, you know why? It's because I've been in a world where it, like, for years was not advised.
Right.
Like, so I'm...
Well, it's like, you know, with the... something we talked about a long time ago where the toilet was clogged a long time ago. And probably what happened is I clogged it and didn't notice it, right? Which occasionally happens. But now she's got a clogged toilet and she's the one who's flushed it not knowing it was already clogged. And she's got all these complicated FE considerations because she doesn't know if I know that I clogged it or not. And if I didn't know that I clogged it and she accuses me of clogging it, then if she says, you know, you clogged the toilet, can you come plunge it or whatever? So she basically comes out and says, this is the state of the toilet. I'm not quite sure what to do, but I didn't touch it any further because I didn't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
And I said, fantastic, let me go deal with that.
I was not going to come out here and be like, I think you clogged the toilet. Like, I don't know. Honestly, not gonna lie, I pooped that time, so I know that it could have possibly been me too. I just knew that, like, it's starting to, like, rise up. I need to tell somebody about it. That's INFJ. It's like the TE, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you were able to help.
I was thinking about, a TE matter I was thinking about earlier was, I really need to clean the bathroom, probably tonight, you know, maybe tonight, we'll see. But I realized that, well, one of the best things I can do to make myself clean the bathroom well is to live stream it, because if I live stream it...
Oh my gosh, that's a great idea.
As soon as I started thinking about live streaming cleaning the bathroom, I started thinking about saying how, okay, well, since I'm going to clean the bathroom, I need to do a little TE here. And let me think about this. And the first thing I thought was, start from the top. That's a rule number one about cleaning.
I didn't know that.
Start from the top so that everything, you get to the floor last and everything else is clean. Nothing else has to go on the floor. That makes good sense. So it's something that I probably wouldn't have thought of if I had just gone in and started cleaning the bathroom. I probably would have started by getting a bucket of warm water, splashing it all over the place, and just
Yeah.
And that's fine too. But the idea is at least if I live stream it, I'll use my demonstrative TE will come out, and I'll try to make a point of showing that I'm not completely incompetent, I guess, at cleaning stuff.
But it's great also because when you do put it up, there was just a podcast that I was listening to where this girl called in because her roommate literally like doesn't know how to clean. She never learned. She had everyone do everything for her, you know? Some people do come from families like that. And so...
Rachel, I guarantee you this girl who called in, that her roommate cleans more than either of us does.
Yeah, probably.
But
anyway, there are people who don't know like how to clean certain things. So, I mean, I don't know, I think it's a great idea. I like the idea. It's very ENTP in my mind.
I was actually reaching over you to get this.
Oh, he got me. He got me good.
Joey seems to favor Cloud. Though Cloud may seem a tad bit proud and favors good at Christmas time, when all the world does Yule shine. Now, Joey surely has his doubts that Cloud's bold claims are backed with clout, but still he chatters comfortably.
Yeah. I totally think, I was thinking Yuletide cheer as well. It does remind me of that.
Okay. Eric, you wrote about being creative, but everything you create is crap. Joey seems to favor Cloud, though Cloud may seem a tad bit proud, and favors good at Christmas time, when all the world does Yule shine. Now, Joey surely has his doubts that Cloud's bold claims are backed with clout, but still he chatters comfortably where others balk at pitching seas.
That's great.
Thanks, Rachel.
You're welcome.
Everything I create is crap. I mean, the thing is about that Cloud, it's like, if you look at a massive pile of totally diverse objects, and you say, and there's a big pile. There's obviously lots of shit underneath the top thing you can see, and you can't even see all the top things. And you go, everything there is shit. Then we know that your opinion doesn't matter at all, because you're not interested in evaluating things. You're interested in dismissing the person, the human being, you know? And, of course, that, unfortunately, makes you very dismissible, because it means you can't be trusted to render any opinions about anything. And that's one of the things, I guess, that one of the costs of it comes along with not caring about words, you know? Because anybody with any sort of nuanced response towards stuff would say, well, there's so much diversity in it that it's hard to say that you hate everything because whatever it is you hate, he's got the opposite of that as well. But of course, Cloud, no, you don't. Not really. You react to it. And you say provocative things about it. Those things are true. But evaluation requires honesty. And it's not something you're really capable of yet. So I'm not sure if you're ever going to be capable. It may be implicit to valuing language. Keep in mind, Cloud, that I don't dispute that there's plenty of things you hate. I'm sure there are plenty of things that you hate of mine. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I certainly hope it's true. It's like, just as I don't want Trump saying he thinks I'm a great thinker, because if he thinks he's a great thinker and he thinks I'm a great thinker, then he thinks I think like him. Just similarly, I don't want Cloud to explicitly like my work very much because, or certainly, I wouldn't feel good if Cloud were to say, Eric's system logically validates according to my criteria, Cloud's criteria, because of course your criteria aren't logical. So that would be concerning. And I don't have any faith in your aesthetics. It may be the case that you have good aesthetics. I haven't seen anything you've made. You have made one video. Apparently it's pretty good. But you don't hate anything about me? Well, okay. I mean, you said everything I make is crap, so surely you dislike it. Is hate too strong? You dislike it instead? From TEFI standpoint, your creations hold no value, beauty, or meaning, only a bit of humor. Okay, well, so, I mean, that's fine, Cloud, because from your own TEFI standpoint, you can arbitrarily decide whatever you want. And it's just as legitimate as any other decision you make. And if you were to change your mind tomorrow, then it would be equally legitimate then too. Because things don't matter to you whether they're consistent or not.
Facts.
THC is not cheating. Like, for example, Cloud, even if you worked really hard at it and took a long time, you could never do what I did in 5 seconds, in a minute or whatever it took me to make that. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with you. It's you have different strengths. But having different strengths is not a good reason to devalue someone else's strengths. So it's like, if you wanted to value me, find areas where you have some purchase of reality, It's like, there's no disputing that I'm extremely good at this. Yeah. Whether you think it's worth anything or not, right? So from a TE perspective, therefore, what you want to do is at least try to find a way that you don't come off as too driven by your own hateriness, I guess.
I want you to know that I think they have value.
Thanks, Rachel.
You're welcome.
I mean, of course, I've got plenty of fancy pants stuff too, Cloud. That's your problem you got, right? I do have some silly stuff, and I got some incredibly fancy stuff.
Aren't I lucky, girl?
It's frustrating, I know. You want to put me in your little box, and you want me to stay there and everything, but I'm way too expansive for your box. I'm sorry. I just am.
It's true. It is true.
Remember that I've made a substantial amount of political videos as well that talk precisely about how we as a political species ought engage in the world.
Watch out with that, Cloud.
All right, Cloud. Time out. You're on time out. You need to keep the projection down, okay?
I'd like like to do this at the same time as
Cheers.
you. Cheers.
You should watch Black Clover, Cloud, and watch Asta, okay? So Asta's a lot like you. He's the hero of the story, and he's a great
Yeah.
character, and everybody loves him. And the reason they love him so much is because he's aware of his own shortcomings. He owns them. He doesn't run away from them. When he sees other people being great at certain things, he celebrates that. He doesn't express envy or hate on it or anything like that. He recognizes that that significance, greatness in any capacity, can be treated as either inspirational or as counter-inspirational. Like, if it's going to demoralize you because, like, I'm never going to be that good, that's one possible response. But it could also be very inspirational and say, you know what? This gives me clarity as to how I can improve in area X. The thing is, indisputably, at least in some areas and in some occasions, I display a kind of magic that from afar you should be able to look at and say, wow, that's pretty cool. Even if it's not my thing, if it's not my whatever. Even if I don't like the thing, wow, he sure does do that thing I don't like well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even for my purposes or anything. It's for your own well-being, ultimately. It's like, what I'm saying to you is, learning to do that is a big step in growth. And learning to do that is also a big step in social relations. It's like when you realize that other people are just as significant, valid, and important as you, life goes a lot more smoothly.
Yeah.
Why did I choose yellow pendant-shaped caution warning signs for tonight? I have changed this. This is actually, I did this for last night. I change it pretty much every other day or so to try something new that is
I would like
good.
to try something new. I was thinking maybe the next bedtime story would be told by May.
That would be new. That's fine with me.
Cool. Jill Sue and her boyfriend Drew.
Jill, Sue, and her boyfriend Drew? Is that,
Yeah.
is that what your story's going to be about?
Yeah.
There. Now we have a different background picture. It's Kitty. It's my special kitty friend.
She's such a beauty.
Do you love my special kitty friend, everybody? Oh my gosh. What a special kitty friend. Look at her face. Look at her kitty face. She has kitty face syndrome.
Does.
Oh, my meows. What a meowity meowgity 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 meow you are.
Aww.
Okay, so, thanks. Oh.
Thank you.
That's my kitty. She's a very special lady.
Yes, she is.
Very regal indeed.
She is so regal.
Now, I don't know if you guys have heard, but this is a cat that will constantly re-astonish you with her regal magnificence and majestic glory.
Mm-hmm.
So, thanks for the cat pun. Oh. You know, no discussion of cats is complete without a purr pun.
I'm gonna open a bag of chips.
You should do that. You knock yourself out. Mama said knock you out. Mama
I'm
said
gonna
knock you out.
Mama says knock you out.
I was just thinking earlier about the following question. Like, I wonder if you could take the values and ask people to phrase it in a way such as this. Are you more likely to figure out how to solve a problem as a way of getting what you want, or are you more likely to know what you want as a way of taking on a project? In that instance, you're asking which is instrumental and which is absolute, you know? Cloud says, Eric, the irony is that you are the one who isn't aware of his shortcomings. I wouldn't trash your work at all if you didn't boast about how greatly your inning manifests in your art. I mean, that suggests that you can't be trusted. If my work were bad, you should trash it for that reason. But instead, you trash it when you think it's useful to attack me personally because we're having an argument right now. So, you know. It's like, if you really want to trash my work, then it should be for one of a couple of reasons. Either one, you say, like, this stuff fails because meow. And this is one of the ways in which things in the world fail. And that's a useful bit of feedback, potentially. I'm not disputing that lots of my stuff fails. Maybe even almost everything fails to some extent, but I have very high standards. Or you say, this stuff, Oceanfront Man, I got my DNA test results and ordered tea from every region I'm descended from and mixed at the appropriate ratios, and it's unsurprisingly the most delicious tea I've ever tasted. What a great idea. Did you hear that, Rachel?
No.
Okay, so you got your 23andMe, right?
Yeah.
So what this guy did is he ordered tea from every region that he's descended from, mixed them at the appropriate ratios. I don't know if he actually did this, but I like the idea anyway. And it's, of course, the most delicious tea he's ever tasted.
Oh my gosh, I have to try it.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, so you want to do it?
I mean, well, let's get my 23andMe first. Yeah, we'll do this idea. Okay?
Sweet.
We'll try to do it.
Cool. I'll do it with you, and then I'll have to sign in from your computer and everything. It's cool though. We can, yeah, it'll be fun. You'll see.
Let me pull this bowl here real quick.
That's cool. That's from Winston's mom. Isn't that nice? This is so nice. Yes, Auntie. You know it's so nice. Aww.
And then I think
it's a present, Winston's
all right,
mom.
let's do a box opening.
Yeah.
So.
Holy cow.
Oops. It went to sleep.
Huh?
It went to sleep.
Yeah, okay, it does that.
Okay, tomorrow, let me check my calendar. Tomorrow, oops, wrong button. Tomorrow, I have nothing until just a 6 to 7. Oh, I have a 10 to 11 and a 6 to 7.
So 3?
3 is best, yeah.
3 it is.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll put it right here, 3 o'clock.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
My dad says hi, everybody. Thank you, Dad, for saying hi.
Huh?
I said thank you for saying hi to everybody, Dad. I'm sure they say hi back.
Okay.
Yeah. Mom conference thing. Okay, there. And Piao.
This coffee's so good.
Okay.
Are we doing the unveil?
Oh, yes, right.
opening?
The unboxing. So,
Unboxing, yes.
Santa, his elves, or an INTJ who's made talking with famous people her precious. One of those three has sent us a couple of gifts in the mail, and we have not opened them yet. We're going to open them on camera, of course. I'm pretty sure this is from Winston's mom, although I actually haven't looked at it yet, but that's just my guess. Oh, one box is marked is just for Rachel Lapalosa.
Oh.
Okay. Let's see. I'll have to put on my glasses to see it. Isn't that sad? Doesn't that make you sad? It makes me a little sad to have to put on glasses. But you know, I see so much better when I do. Well, this one just says Host Eric on it. Let me get the other one.
I'm thinking you closing the door or opening it very well may have been you.
Oh, with the cracking of the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Okay. This one says Coach Eric Strauss too, as well. It doesn't say anything about Rachel. So neither of them are labeled. Neither of them are labeled Rachel Lapalosa, but one of them is for Rachel Lapalosa.
Well, then we
Okay, do you think it's this one, Winston's mom, that's for Rachel? Or do you think it's this one that's for Rachel? This one's heavier and bigger.
Who knows?
Well, let's see. Well, I wanted to open the right one, so I'm asking her which one is for Rachel. I'll tell you what I'll do to prepare for this is I will cut the tape off of this. Okay. And okay, that one is for you, Rachel.
Okay.
Do you want to open first? You want to sit over here where I'm sitting for a minute to open that one up?
Sure. Okay, so this one is mine, I believe. Huh. There's cat weed, catnip for P&P.
Cool. That's for the cat. So that the cat can enjoy.
Thank you, Winston's mom.
I'm glad we put the cat picture up there
Me too.
so that people know for whom it is.
For whom it is, yes, exactly. And right now we're opening up a second little box that
Inside which I'm anticipating there's a third little box.
ooh,
Maybe even 4 boxes.
bubble tape. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's okay. Let's see how.
You pull on it.
There you go. It's like charms.
Cut it? Or you need to be cut?
Might.
It just comes out like this.
Cool.
Wow.
Wow.
Look at that. It's a lot of little things.
Oh my
in there.
gosh, charms. I love like honestly for wow.
You gotta show it to the camera though, Rachel. the people want to see as well.
It's a jewelry making box.
You should.
this has
It's
all
a
the
good idea,
tools.
Oceanfront Man.
I can't wait to see what's inside. Wow. You know, my friendship bracelets and stuff. I used to make jewelry as a kid for fun, like 5th grade. Thank you very much, Winston's mom. It's so nice of you. I can't wait to have fun with that.
Okay, shall we switch places?
Yay! Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. What in the world is this? Oh my goodness. Would you look at this? It almost makes me wish we hadn't gone to the store today to get more of it.
Oh my gosh!
But it doesn't matter. We'll go through that stuff so fast, it's
So
insane. This is what I like to call a truly personalized gift. Hazelnut coffee creamer, powdered kind of course, the only kind of coffee creamer worth using. French vanilla. Vanilla caramel. And look, you guys, this is pretty important. It's gluten-free. It's gluten-free, thank God. You know. Okay. Alright, Joey, okay, I feel you, dog. I feel you. But please listen to me. Just, if there's anything in the world, I want you to just please listen to me for a second before you close your mind on this issue. Just consider for the following, the possible thing, okay? Before I finish opening things. Here's the other one. Regular flavor. The problem isn't the coffee creamer, okay?
No, it's not.
It's that you're not putting nearly enough in. You have to put a shocking amount of it in there. But if you do, it's really good. It's like the best coffee you can get. Like the instructions will say like put a teaspoon in or something. But you really need to put in a shit ton. Hi, Dad. Hi. I'm coming here to get more coffee. We have to go through around that way because, thank you. Okay, I have to put my glasses on.
Well, okay. This is a copy of what I said to Kim, and you have this. So if you want to add anything, discuss it with me, or at least let me know before. I made a math mistake up there, but that's trivial. Now you saw this, right?
I didn't read it carefully. Okay, cool. Understood.
Flex your glasses.
Thank you. They allow me to read.
Always good.
Yeah.
I got new glasses too, because I find it costs more.
This is good training for if I ever have
I'm
to.
going to close the door.
I was about to do so. Thank you.
Okay.
That's good training if I ever have to. If I ever have to rob an art museum that has one of those laser defenses, marking over these things. You couldn't see it, but you have to take my word for it. Okay, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, Joey. Now, normally, you might put in meow amount of creamer, right? Who's awesome Sarah? Oh, you needed a comma there, Oceanfront Man. The deterioration of society can be summed up in the poor use of commas. Joey, but just listen to me. I want you to hear my words, okay? So this is a cup of coffee here, and I'll show
You're having
you.
a new cup?
Let me just show you right here. I'm gonna demo this. So we're gonna
I'm gonna
point
make a
this.
new cup for myself too then, once I finish this one.
Okay. As you can see, that's a cup of coffee. Now look, if you're a normal person, you might think, oh, I'm just going to put some creamer in it. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, well, there we go. That's not nearly enough creamer. Not even by a long, long measure. Oh, you mean that much creamer, Eric? Nope. That is not enough creamer.
You think it is at first.
You might think, oh, it looks pretty good. Pretty good. That's enough creamer. No, it's not. But if you try it right now, you think, man, powdered creamer sucks.
Yeah.
I don't blame you for thinking that. What if you put this much in? You think, okay, well, at this point, Eric must be like, well, that's enough creamer. No, it's not. No, it is not. You need one more good full pour of this, okay? Now that is enough creamer, okay? Yeah, well, it needs to be hot enough that it melts the creamer. That's true. But if you stir it, the more you stir it, hi Zandy.
Hey, Sandy.
The more you stir it, the more it melts in. Now, if it's hot, it melts in easy. If it's not that hot, you have to stir more. If it's not hot enough, it doesn't matter how much you stir, it won't melt. So you have to have it the right temperature, or at least a certain amount of hotness, or else it won't melt at all. This is hot enough because it came straight out of the hot pot. When I microwave it, I tend to make it a little less hot than when it comes off of the pot because I want to be able to drink it right away. I put it in for 1 minute and 50 seconds. Now, you're not going to be able to see this part, but I'm going to taste it just so you know. Okay? Okay. Let me see what's going on here. Grass eater, are you having britch size problems?
Hazelnut. What's
I hope not.
hazelnut? Vanilla caramel. And French vanilla.
Let me see what's going on here. Who are you talking about? Who's he talking about? Does anybody know who he's talking about?
No.
I don't know who he's talking about either. I saw what Diamond wrote, but I don't know who she's talking about. I see that, and it could potentially be something that I would say, okay, it's justified for you saying that. Depends on, but it depends on who and it depends on the context. So who is the he being referenced here? Oh, if it's about me, it's fine. Then you don't need to police that about me. If it were another person here, you would need to police it. If it were about a celebrity, you wouldn't need to police it. Oh, it's about you? I mean, that's fair, Diamond. You know, that's not a very nice thing to say. If it was about him. Okay, if it's about me, then you don't need to police that. Don't worry about that. That's fine. If it were about somebody, but I don't really object to the mistake on your end at all. I wouldn't call it a mistake. And even I'd say it was. I hadn't clarified that that rule, which would have been properly applied, were to somebody here, doesn't apply to me. Oh. I was talking about Grass Eater because I was talking to Cloud about an anime when he said something about Rachel's hair. Well, what did he say about Rachel's hair? This is so silly. Cloud, you are particularly aggressive today. You know? Maybe I am a little bit of an asswipe too.
All of this is me thrown for a loop. I'm like...
It's hard for me to keep track of what's going on. How's it going, Zandy? How's,
We know Zandy's here. That much is true.
how's Fresno treating you? Remember I moved her to Fresno?
It's true.
From now on, you no longer live in Sacramento, you live in Fresno. I get to decide the name of the city in which you live. Even if you don't have to move, you have to refer to it by a different name from now on. That's the power granted to me by YouTube. Ow. Don't cut your finger off, Eric. That's dumb. Oh, there's more presents. I forgot.
There are?
Yeah. I forgot to open them. Now let's see what this is. What was the first present that I pulled out? I forgot what it was already. The coffee creamers. Thank you, Winston's mom, by the way, for the coffee creamers. And there's this thing. What is this? Ooh, what's this? What is this? Is it light? I think it's a USB light, maybe? Wow, cool.
That is cool.
And what is this? Wow, look at this. It's
It comes with a stand.
it's a selfie stick with a meow.
Oh, cool.
We could put this on if we wanted to. We could show
Yeah.
things with this. This is great.
That
This is a very useful tool. Thank you, Winston's mom. And there's and this you can change the color of these lights with these split ends.
Oh, that's awesome. You know who would totally know all about that? Is Mariah Carey.
Does she use
That's-
those?
She knows all about lighting because she knows her best size and stuff.
And this is another higher one of these.
Cool.
Or wider
There's
one or something.
stand.
I guess it's got. And there's a little box up in here. Another stand. And another one of these
Oh,
things.
sweet.
That's pretty sweet
You
indeed.
have to start paying people to hold your
Oh, it
stuff.
goes like that too. So you can turn it like that. Interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
And this is a swivel bevel.
Oh, nice.
One of these things.
That's cool. That's really cool. All that stuff.
There's a lot of camera arranging stuff. Thanks, Winston's mom.
Yeah.
And then there's another swivel. There's two of everything in here.
That's great.
These are totally things that are useful. Winston's mom's also responsible for the green screen, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's like, as things start to look a little better around here, it's it's a community effort. Thank you, Winston's mom. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
thank
You're a kind and wonderful woman. A gentle spirit who makes me celebrate the goodness of the world. Now, we're not done, friends. We are not done yet. There's yet another box in here. So, to use these, I'm going to have to get some sort of... I want to get like a thing that plugs into the wall that comes out here that's like a... It's like a power strip, but instead of power strips things, it just has USB things on it.
Yeah.
I want to get one of those because I
Best
need.
Buy.
Right now, I'm all used up in my USB slots. Sleigh bells ring, are you glistening? In the lane, snow is listening. A beautiful night, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. If you want some cheese, then you had better have a plenty good time with some cheese. I'll just cut that open like that, yeah. And then I'll see what's inside now with ease. What is underneath this paper? I don't know. Let's find out.
No, this is light?
No, it's a pop screen. It goes in front of the microphone, so you get closer to the microphone, and your P's don't peak.
Cool.
See, stops your air from going through like that.
That's really cool.
That is really cool. Recording microphone. You give me a mic too? Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Where'd you
That's
go?
so generous. Thank you, Winston's mom.
I don't know what this thing is. Wow. It's got this too. So this is the microphone. Let me take it out of the thing. It's a condenser mic. Like, you know, the same kind of class of mic that I have. I need my glasses.
They're right there.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a USB mic. Okay, cool.
So the strip will come in handy.
Yeah, I'm gonna need something like that to make this work on my current setup. But one thing this means is if I if I get this set up with the USB, then I should be able to run 3 mics concurrently instead of just 2. And of course, I guess one of them would have to be a stereo channel.
I'm gonna try the hazelnut.
Cool. Well, thanks, Winston's mom. Thanks a lot. I'm really excited to try this out and see how it sounds.
Me too. I am too.
Just to have another microphone in the mix in general to change up the tone of stuff I'm recording and stuff is fantastic. So, thank you. Put this here for now. Play with this later. So without having to do anything at all, I can next time I stream, I will use that mic. I'll be able to do that because I can unplug the sound card. The mic allows me to get this USB mic will take up the same USB slot as the sound card. And the sound card is one that converts analog mics like this into digital over there on the laptop, which is back behind there.
Frothy goodness.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, remember, whenever we're typing celebrities, characters from shows or whatever, that the best we can do is make a case for one type or another. And it can't ever be definitive because we don't get a chance to talk to them and actually test them and make hypotheses and test those hypotheses and find out, you know? It's easy to the thing to remember here is this. I type Steve Jobs as ISTP knowing that most people are going to assume he's much more intuitive than an ISTP and or much more TE than an ISTP. And knowing that I open myself up to critiques on those grounds. Yet, nevertheless, I think it's most likely he was an ISTP. I don't know that for sure, can't know it for sure. And I posit the position on the matter anyway, because I don't want to not answer the question. I would say that there's as good a reason to think he's ISTP as any other type that you might be arguing, say ENTJ, INTJ, ESTP, whatever else you might type him as. I mean, what do people type him as generally? So, you know, the arguments in favor of ISTP are he seems to favor singular approaches to things, a single path. He had a clear vision for what he wanted to do with given with development of the company, and it was at the same time not especially imaginative. You know, it's like let's let's release the iPhone's abilities one at a time in a succession of releases so that we can maximally get repeat customers who don't need a new phone. It's a very ISTP idea, right? It's well, I mean, you could call that imaginative, I guess, if you want, but I would call it not. I would call it a good NISETI kind of thing to do, but
He admitted that the tablet came first, and then it wasn't some like miracle thing that happened in his sleep. He just was like, let's make a smaller version of that. Yep.
yeah. So the thing is, note also that he continually seemed to sacrifice robustness in instances for clarity, or at least he sacrificed your ability to he sacrifices your ability to solve problems yourself in exchange for fewer potential problems at all from the user end experience, Well, I mean, from a purely TE perspective, he sacrificed making a better tool for running the business better, So it's like, if you agreed with his tactic in terms of this is going to maximally attain profit for the shareholders, then his approach makes sense. From my perspective, his approach doesn't make a lot of sense because one can easily anticipate that others will jump on this bandwagon and they won't be constrained by this self-imposed trickle strategy, and therefore will jump ahead if we maintain the trickle strategy. It might not be a terrible idea to try it for a little while, a year or two, but I think we're just setting ourselves up to get leapfrogged, and then somebody puts out the phone that has all the shit that we're holding back still, and we'll lose all the market share to that phone. That would be my concern. But I don't know. I don't even really sure how it all worked out for Apple. I'm just saying it's not inconsistent with ISTP. I literally know nothing about him. Well, I mean, am I wrong in what I said about so far? What did I say that was wrong? Like, what did I mistakenly say Steve Jobs had a fascination with sombreros when really he didn't, or what? What have I said that's not factually correct? I mean, I type Steve Jobs' ISTP if I'm required to type him for some reason. It's like I acknowledge that my typing is not very solid because I don't get a chance to actually speak to the guy, ask questions, get responses, engage with him meaningfully, So I can't definitively say that he's an ISTP. But in my opinion, it's the type that makes the most sense for him. I mean, I have no idea what the general consensus is. That's the other thing is, when people go, well, what about meow meow meow? And I go, probably a meow, and they go, well, that's the general consensus. I had no idea what anybody thought before they asked me, probably, I don't go around looking at other people's shit on typology anymore. I did it for a long time at the beginning because I was learning all about it. But I reached the point where I didn't encounter any new information anymore, really, and I encountered the same kinds of bad ideas in different clothes. And at that point, I started, once I became aligned to the correct approach to solving the problems associated with it. From that point forward, I really haven't looked at other people's shit. It doesn't matter.
Kitty can smell the catnip.
Would you like this catnip? Do you like it, Kitty? Here, let's see. I just put this thing down and see if she likes it.
Yeah, that's the best way. Daddy knows best. Morale, yes, morale. Oh, morale.
Cause you're a very, 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 very special kitty. Yes, you're a very, 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 very special kitty. Oh, I have checked all the documentation I can find, and I've discovered you're a very special kind of kitty. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you
Oh,
are.
I love you too, Ian.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
You are.
Daddy loves you too. Morale, you're gonna go up there?
Wonderful, wonderful.
That is a wonderful, wonderful.
Cloud believes that Steve Jobs is an ENFP. You know, I think, what was it? 4 weeks ago? That was, you were also saying Steve Jobs is an ENFP 4 weeks ago, huh? And I guess, have you covered all 16 types in between then and returning to ENFP today?
Peter says pickles by the peanut store.
Cloud, just replace all your verbs with random verbs and all your nouns with random nouns, and you say just as things that matter just as much as the things that you're currently saying. Okay, right now it's time for coffee and cigarette hour with Rachel and Eric. It only lasts 5 minutes, but it feels like an hour. Okay, I will insult you on a different level. Which level would you like me to insult you on instead of Effie? Shall I insult you on any level? Does that mean?
Get talked a lot.
Let's see. Insult you on any level. Okay. You're like the rust on a hot water heater left in the desert for 1 million years before finally being discovered by a homeless family and trying to be used again as a regular hot water heater, only to have it explode on them and shower them with hot water. There.
Oh, dude.
And, it's like if you were to judge and it's like you have to position the parties, right? So you have like any Dom judging insults is going to pick presumably if instructed to the most divergent one. Probably actually they pick the most NI one, but let's just pretend that any Dom is in charge of picking the most divergent insult. So in that case, it would have to be very strange. If it were an NI person, it would be like this most singular true insult. It would be something like, you yourself, deep down, feel worthless.
Oh, God, that hit me to the core.
It's like, ouch. Hey, dial back on the NI, please.
Oh, my God. It's so true. It's so true.
And SE insult would be like you're clumsy, I guess. And FE insult would be you look ugly or you're sloppy looking or something, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And FI insult would be, what's really important to you is worthless shit. And what kind of other insults are there? SI insult? You don't get enough sleep. That's not really very insulting.
You sleep in too much.
Or you're really letting yourself go. I guess. Like not so much like you don't look good, but like you're not taking good care of yourself. You're starting to put on some weight. Mm-hmm. You're getting, you're letting yourself get a little heavy, bro. And
Ugh.
It's it makes me want to sort of almost craft a vignette in which you have, say, a room with 5 characters. Let's say one of them is giving a speech, and 3 of them are reacting appropriately to the speech. Sometimes positively, sometimes negatively. Sometimes when the joke's funny, they laugh. When the joke's not funny, they don't laugh, etc. Right? And then one of them is just there to negate the person who's speaking. Whatever it is they're saying. They're just there to negate that person. To say, don't be full of yourself. Don't think you know anything. Because you don't know anything. So they're not there to say what you're saying is wrong because of something specific to it, but just that it's wrong of you to presume to know anything. Write this thing out, act it out as a play and stuff, and get some sort of sense of what the audience's response is to it. Right? Then, also have an equivalent play in which there's no audience meaningfully. There's just the person delivering the material, and then determine after the fact how much that negative energy impacted the audience's perception of how the person performing did, and also then to add in a third vector eventually of metaing up. So it's like, to the extent that the person involved in the performance is engaging that other party, he's empowering and legitimizing them. So to the extent that I'm engaging you, I'm empowering and legitimizing you. But at the same time, to the extent that engagement empowers you and you use that empowerment to attack, those attacks typically backfire. And so on sort of an objective level, you end up losing those battles. But does winning those battles ultimately is winning those battles ultimately a good way to address that scenario is really the question. So does it in fact ultimately end up hurting the performer's position in the perceptions of others, because just the sheer amount of negativity sort of colors people's perceptions unavoidably? Or is there a reactionary response to it where in fact it makes people have more positive regard because the falseness of the negative person seems to them in stark resolve, perhaps? It's hard to say. Well, right now I'm not insulting you, Cloud. Right now I'm not insulting you at all, though. I'm saying it would be interesting to write a vignette, to write, basically to conduct an experiment to see what kind of impact you actually end up having on people's perceptions of me. I'm not saying I know the answer to that. I'm saying it would be interesting to test that. Come on, kitty. Come on, go ahead.
She's so confused.
Go.
Are you mad that I didn't hear that? Okay, good. That means no. Hi, Kitty. Oh, Kitty, freshness pants. You look so fresh and pageantry. Yes, it's a lot of boxes. Should we see if she wants to get... Oh, well, there's stuff in there. Is there?
Oh, yeah, he's acknowledged that plenty of times before. Remember, it doesn't matter. Tomorrow could be something different. It really doesn't matter. So, Clyde, you really should listen to what I'm saying about that vignette. It's kind of significant because it tells you that at a certain point, if you actually are instrumentally bad for me in the community, then...
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yes, PNP, lots of boxes.
That is true, Claude. I am making the claim that you are someone who changes his positions often. I'm not trying to portray you as that. I'm making the claim that you are, in fact, that.
Morale. Morale.
Claude, I've heard you on religion, for example, argue everything from atheism to Hinduism.
Morale. Let's see if you're any good.
I've heard you insist that the Bible is the only way to attain the truth and the biggest lie in the history of mankind. I've heard you say that... Right. We've gone through this argumentation chain before, Cloud. Since you're always joking, nobody ever has any reason to take you seriously. And I'm not in the mood for this right now, frankly. You killed the mood in general.
I'm gonna shuffle my cards. I'm gonna pull for people. I was gonna do one for Winston's mom.
Sure. Okay, Cloud, whatever it was positive you said about the Bible. I don't remember exactly what it was, but you said something very positive about it. The next day you said it was the greatest lie ever told. You don't... I guess there's just no way out of that box. If you don't care about words, you don't care about words.
Okay, Winston's mom. I have a reading for you from the Mother Peace Round Tarot deck. We got 5 of Wands. Wait.
That means you've got a lot of naked ladies dancing around you.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a pretty good door prize.
I think so.
Naked lady fire dance?
Next one.
Who's this also Winston's mom?
Yep.
Oh, you know what we're doing? Can we do the thing we did last night, which is, or I did last night, which is, can we shuffle this up and start over? Okay. So here's the thing. We're going to try it again. It's called your misleading, your misleading dismiss, your stubborn correctness, and your need to know. So the first one is the thing that you believe is very important that you should place less importance on. Then the second thing is the thing that you don't think is important that you should place more importance on. The third thing is the thing that you think is important that you're right about but other people are wrong about. And the fourth thing is the area in which you need to learn.
Okay, so four?
Yeah. So this first one for Winston's mom is the thing you think is important but really isn't that important. Ace of Wands. Jumping explosively out of an egg. Winston's mom currently thinks that jumping explosively out of an egg is very important. In reality, she should place less importance on jumping explosively out of eggs. But I must say, Winston's mom, I didn't know you were into that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Learn something every day.
Yes, it's for you.
Okay, now here's the thing that you don't think is important, but you should put more importance on. Daughter of Cups. This is, what I'm talking about is your youthful,
Wow, I love you too, Panpy.
your youthful and unadulterated moistures.
Morale.
You see these waves of moisture down there?
Wow.
Those are your feelings.
Morale.
Those are your most intimate times. You are there, naked, as like most of the ladies in these cards, and you're hanging out near this red tree and these red walls and stuff. You're like, ah, yay! You think you don't need to do this anymore. You do. You still need to do this, or you need to do this finally. One of the two. Okay, here you go. Now the third one is what's called your stubborn correctness. This is the thing that you're right about, that you keep getting grief about from the world, but they're wrong. 10 of discs. What in the world are they doing to you there, Winston's mom?
10 of discs.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What are they? Oh my God. Winston's mom. What are they putting into you? Is that a baby-shaped dildo? Oh wait, that's a baby. My bad. That's a baby. So this is what you think is important, I guess. Giving birth? I'm not sure. That the world doesn't think is important, but you're right about. When people give you grief about lying spread eagle in a circle of women and having a baby-shaped dildo pushed in and out of you, you say, hey, this is my way. You just leave me be.
I think that's
Okay.
good advice.
And this is the area about which you don't necessarily know yet that you need more attention. You need to pay more attention to. 2 of Cups. Oh, you got to find your soulmate. Boy, we're going to miss you, Winston's mom, when you find your soulmate. Unless you find him here and you guys remain incredibly interested in TWFP after you get together. That's you. You're going to also have to figure out this no genitals problem with that guy right there, since neither of you appear to have genitals, just fish bottoms. We mix these up in the mixer. Anybody else want one of those readings? One of those very special and important readings?
I'll go second after someone in the chat.
Okay. Well, you can go first.
Okay.
Okay. This is Rachel's. What's it called? Her misleading significance. So the thing that she thinks is very important, but it's really not as important as she thinks. Ooh, the star card. I think it's important to be the star of this bath. But you know what? That bathtub's big enough for 2. Alright, now, the thing that you don't think is important, but actually is. Daughter of Discs. would call this childlike disc-related basics. What are some activities that comprise childlike disc-related basics? What you might call them? Pentacles, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Like money management?
Yeah.
Household finances? Things like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, this one is your stubborn rightness. This is what the world keeps telling you isn't important, but you think is, and you're right.
Ooh.
The High Priestess. I guess this is a major because it doesn't have any of whatevers, you know.
Yeah. It's number 2.
What's this normally called?
The High Priestess.
It's normally called the High Priestess.
Yeah.
That's a lot of blonde pubic hair. Oh wait, maybe that's a skirt.
Yeah.
So this is your stubborn rightness. Now is High Priestess more intuition or feelings?
Intuition.
And what about Empress?
That's more nurturing.
Okay. And then here's the one that is the area in which you need to know more things. You need to learn more things about this. Son of Swords.
Your penis?
My penis is the Ace of Swords.
I know.
I think this means you just need to enjoy, enjoy killing a few ducks. I know it's not nice, but that's what we're doing right now. We're killing ducks,
That's
so
true.
might as well pull out your gun and shoot a few.
Thanks. I liked that reading. That was good.
Thank you, Rachel.
OPNP. A very important kitty friend. Can we do one for Delilah?
Sure. Why don't we do one for me?
Yeah! I was hoping you would say that.
You want to pull them?
Yeah, sure.
Rachel's going to pull for me the first card, which is my my misleading correctness, which is the thing that I think is really important that I should place less importance on. And the winner is Two of Discs. So this is keeping track of. This is actually really true right now. I've been stressing about shit like, household finances and stuff more than I ought to, really. So this is true. I need to let go of this right now somewhat. And this is the opposite one, which is my thing that I dismiss that I shouldn't dismiss.
You're the shaman of discs. Sometimes it takes... You're the slowest of the shamans, but you're the most prosperous.
Okay, so I need to place more important on the long term. Yeah, but that's fair. Tell me something I don't already know. Mm-hmm. All right, now we've got the stubborn correctness.
Something you don't...
The COVID-19 card? What? I'm stubbornly correct about the COVID virus? I didn't even know they had this card in the deck. Oh, not really that. Shaman of Wands. What's the Shaman of Wands all about? What's shaman? Like, what's that equivalent to? That's equivalent to the...
King, maybe?
Knight?
Or the knight, yeah.
I would say, like, basically, this is my insistence that I not have to go beyond the night level in this area. It's saying I'm stubborn about not going beyond this in this area, and I'm right too.
Yeah.
And then the last one.
Shaman is the king.
Oh, Shaman is the king.
Yeah.
Huh.
So you're actually the king of...
I'm stubborn about this and I'm right. Doesn't mean I'm stubborn that I agree about it and I'm right, you know? Could be I stubbornly disagree about it and I'm right. The last one is thing I need to learn more about. The beauties of kitty pageant winners. I do need to learn more about that. Daughter of discs. I need to learn more about how to, how to spend my allowance. I guess that's the daughter of discs, right?
Yeah.
Childlike money issues.
Yeah. It's so funny that they were all...
All
well,
discs.
no, this wasn't...
This is Whams. They were just
Yeah.
kind of like discs in a way.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. You wanted to do Delilah.
Lila, yeah.
How about you, KD? You want a four pole?
Hey, KD, would you like one?
Do you want a four pole? A pole, a very four pole. Do you want a four pole? It's a Christmas time tarot pole. It's part of the Yuletide spirit around here.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is.
Because, one of the three wise men, actually, it's not really talked about a lot. They brought frankincense,
Yes.
Myrrh. but they also brought him a deck of tarot cards. And people don't talk about that a lot.
They don't.
It was a common childhood gift back in Judea from around 100 BC to around 180. It was one of the most popular birthing gifts, they were called.
Wow, birthing gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for giving me a birthing gift.
Sure.
Aw, that's very nice, babe.
Although I will say that is an antiquated use of the term. We don't typically refer to them as such anymore because
Oh.
they aren't so strongly linked to the birth of a child anymore. Now we just think of
Well,
them
I'm happy for that.
as more of an adult thing.
Oh, yeah.
18 and over only.
Cool.
Naked tarot ladies are coming.
That's what is coming.
All right, Katie, since I didn't get any response from you, I'm going to take that in the affirmative. Yes, you do want me to do one of these for you. I wonder if this is not updating or something. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Or maybe we've just driven everyone away with their boringness. It's possible too. All right, Katie, here you go. Number one. The thing that you think is important is not really that important. This card again. You think it's important to sit in the middle of a circle of women having a baby-shaped dildo shoved in and out of you, but you're wrong. Okay. And this one. This is the thing that you think isn't important, but actually is. You need to put a hole in the roof or else you will suffocate to death from carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay? You don't think it matters, do you, Katie? You don't think it matters whether you have a hole in your roof. Well, that smoke has to go somewhere, mister or miss, and it's going to go directly into your lungs. Either whatever you are. All right, so that's what you don't think is important, what it actually is. Now, number 3 thing. Your stubborn rightness. Can you get my phone, please?
Sure.
2 of Swords. You're stubbornly right about this. Thanks. Hello?
Hello, hi, Mr. Strauss.
Hi.
I realized I forgot to ask you the time that you spent reading Poet X.
I didn't spend any time reading it.
Okay.
I just went out. I didn't. I just didn't get to it before we worked, and then I realized, I don't even need to read this ahead of time. This is,
I see. Okay, all right. So, okay, and also so Jeffrey, it's been a crazy day. So he's going to write something probably after 8 o'clock, and so tomorrow maybe we just do maybe 1 hour.
Okay, let me look at my calendar.
Okay. I remember you said 10 to 11, and then 6 to 8 you have things, right?
Well, I've since added to my calendar for tomorrow. So
I see.
I've got a... Oops, I keep doing that. Keep pushing the wrong thing. Okay, there. I've got a 10 to 11, a 2:45 to 3:45, and a 6 to 7 tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So how about let's do 4 to 5 tomorrow.
Okay. For furry. I'll put it on the old calendaroo, as they call it.
Yeah. So, and also, I just want to talk to you about Chloe's debate thing. I mean, she doesn't have a debate thing going on right now, but I mean, I feel I really want her to do it. She really doesn't want to do it because, I mean, when I talked to her about it, she got so nervous. She's like, oh my God, I can't do anything. I'm just so nervous.
Okay, listen, if she really doesn't want to do it, that should tell you everything you need to know. It's not like she's ambivalent about it or that she's never tried it and is just being scared without any good reason and she needs to try it first before she decides she hates it. That's not the case. She's tried it enough to know. If she's telling you she definitely doesn't like that and doesn't want to do it, you should not make her do it.
What about like the team thing? Like if she joins the school thing, do you think that'll be easier for her?
Does she want to join the team?
And she's just so intimidated, by LD.
Okay, so she'd also probably be intimidated by tackle football, right?
Yes.
Because if you were to say go play on the middle school tackle football team, and there's 8th grade boys tackling her as hard as they can, she's gonna be like, no, I don't want to do that, Mom. I'm intimidated by that. Well, why? Because I'm not equipped to be one of the big guys who's putting the hurt on the bad people. I don't want to be one of the bad people who's getting the hurt put on them by the big guys. Same thing here. She has good reason to not want to do this.
Okay. All right. So I'll talk to her more about it later.
Jeffrey's mom, why don't you ever just... I know why, though. It's because of your relationship with introverted intuition. That's why. Okay. All right. Well, so that's fine. Anything else?
No. Oh, another thing. Jeffrey's debate thing. I mean, I don't know what to do with it because he loves it. I mean, I can't, like the day, even though he didn't do well in this tournament.
He did better than last time.
Right. You can see he just loves it so much. He's so happy. It doesn't matter he wins or loses. He's just so happy when he's doing it. But the thing is, I mean, I feel, honestly, I'm finally starting to realize he could be pretty good. But he wants to do something else. So he can't be as good as he could be. I'm always like, why are you doing this to yourself?
What's the other thing he wants to do?
Well, he wants to do math, and then math, it takes a lot of time. And then, what else? He's doing computer programming, the coding thing. He's learning Java, and, and those takes a lot of time. And then also he's doing business.
So your concern is that he's trying to half-ass too many things instead of be the master of fewer things.
Right. He knows he wants to do that. All the other things too. And then he knows for debate, he just loves it, even though he doesn't want to be a lawyer.
Well, that's fine. He doesn't need to want to be a lawyer. The thing is, I don't know what to tell you about that. It's like, I get the fact that he wants to half-ass a bunch of things rather than full-ass anything. I understand that. I feel that myself. I respect that inclination. It's going to be hard to get that out of him. Because it's inherent to his nature. He's interested by lots of things. And as soon as something becomes useful in some regard, like, oh, well, now, okay, you know what? Actually, if you really do apply yourself to this, you could be the very best, and so maybe you should really apply yourself to this. Okay, well, now I don't want to do it anymore. Well, why not? You loved it 5 seconds ago. Well, now you made it part of some sort of useful task. So I don't like that kind of stuff. So, that's just how it is. So the thing is, you got to remember that your job as a parent is just to not let him do something dramatic impulsively. Like, don't let him quit something that he values a lot because right now he's feeling like math is his thing or whatever, You may not be able to prevent him from, or maybe it's not a good idea to prevent him from exploring his various interests. I mean, he already has a full day's worth of people who are insisting he listen to them about stuff he has varying degrees of interest in and stuff that's not at all individuated to his actual desired learning areas. And so when he does have a little bit of time to direct towards his own educating himself, obviously he's going to want to bounce around from various things, follow things down the rabbit hole or whatever. And that's going to lead him far asunder. But remember that the reason that's the case is because you make him go to school all day, which is a huge waste of time. I mean, it's like half of his day is wasted every day, every weekday, taking these classes that are pointless.
I know. I mean, but he's, like at school, you can see the debate kids, they later on they go for either they want to go for business or English or history or political science, and then the math kids, they don't go for debate anymore. They just do math and I don't know what else they do. But he's doing everything, but I'm like,
look, debate makes him. Debate is not valuable because of how it links to this job or that, okay, or this college or that. Debate is valuable because it makes him a better human being. It makes him more detached, more objective, have more clarity about public policy, about rhetoric, about interaction with people in general. It gives him a massive advantage over other ENTPs because it forces him to address his primary point of challenge in life, which is his ignoring introverted intuition. What always happens with him? Well, he knows everything perfectly fine, but he doesn't score very well on the test necessarily always. When he goes into a debate round, he knows what I want him to do, but he ends up saying a bunch of other words or a bunch of other arguments sometimes. And what's the thing I have to get him to practice doing all the time? Crystallizing shit down. So he says the argument I want in one pow kind of package that has a punch to it, right? That's the skill he most needs to develop in life. And debate will teach him that as nothing else will. But because he doesn't have that skill at all, it's going to be very difficult for him to tell the difference between that which is a hugely important factor that's determinant in an outcome of things and that which is a totally insignificant factor that's not a determinant outcome of things. So it's like, if you can score points in 4 ways, you can score a 1-pointer, a 2-pointer, a 3-pointer, or a 1,000-pointer, he'll still try out the 1 and 2-pointers rather than not bothering with them because they're not going to win in the game. The game's going to be won by the first team that scores the 1,000-pointer. So I'm just going to try to shoot those. Don't even bother with the 1, 2, 3-pointers because it's just, they're not going to be relevant in the outcome. That's the kind of thing that he needs to understand better. And that's what debate teaches him because it makes him crystallize the argumentation that he's producing into single, concise sentences that other people can understand.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know the benefit of debate. And I just want, because he really needs to, choose 1 or 2 things. But instead he's doing,
Why does he need to choose 1 or 2 things?
Well, because that way, for example, for debate, he can't compete with kids who does it every weekend.
Okay. Remember this. Jeffrey just went to his 2nd tournament as a 9th grader in Open at La Costa Canyon and went 3-3 against people who've been competing in debate for as much as 4 years and are seniors, or even longer than 4 years and are seniors, and he still went 3-3. He went 2-3 or 2-4 in his first tournament as a 9th grader in high school competition. Okay, your insistence that he can't compete with others who go every weekend is both premature, wrong, and short-sighted. Right now, let him have his freshman year of competition and debate, and expect him to have a freshman year of competition and debate. And be realistic that when it comes time for him to win important tournaments, that he'll be up to speed at that moment. They're like racehorses. You get them a certain amount of prep, they get optimally ready, and then they go into a tournament at that point. You can also over prep them. You can load them down with way too much stuff, too many arguments, they don't know what to choose. There's lots of things you can do wrong with a debater going into a tournament. It is not the case that more is better. It is not the case that forcing your son to do stuff he doesn't like is a good idea.
No, I'm not forcing him to do that. I want him to do less. Just.
I know, but the thing is, you don't want him to do less. So in that time, let's say he were to quit 2 of these things. Let's say he were to quit math, and then what would you do with the time? What would he be doing with the time that he freed up from not doing math anymore?
No, I feel like if he wants to do debate, he should just be like those debate kids. They live, and breathe debate.
Okay, but look, you're totally wrong about this. Different people have different relationships with things. What Jeffrey needs is to always be allowed to stop doing debate the second it ceases to be fun. He always needs to be allowed to turn his attention to something else. Because the only way he will ever be good at anything is when that thing remains for him fresh, exciting, and new. If you want him to learn things your way, to practice things to death until they're not exciting or new at all, but be perfect at it. That's just not his way of the ninja.
But that's how you win, right?
No, that's how you win.
Yes, that's what we have to do. Yes, but
no. The point is the way that you were correct. If your son were you, you'd be correct. He should do all that stuff because if he were you, that would be the best way to attain the outcome. It's not the best way to attain the outcome with him because he's like Roger Federer. Roger Federer's parents told him, "Don't play sports. That's a dumb waste of time." And he started playing different sports. He didn't play tennis at first. He just played different sports. And they said, "We don't like sports, but fine, go ahead. If you like it, that's fine." And they started playing tennis. They said, "Don't play tennis. We don't like this tennis. Can you just focus on your schoolwork, please?" And so he didn't play that much tennis. And then he kept playing other sports. And eventually, when he was like 17 or 18, he decided to focus on tennis, became a pro tennis player, became the best in the world.
He's so talented.
The point is, you know what? There was a good way to stop him from being the best tennis player in the world. You know what that way was?
Practice a lot.
Make him focus on tennis all the time. Not allow him to enjoy it.
I know, but it's just
you overestimate the power. You overestimate the power of intensive prep work. Debate rounds are often won and lost by flashes of intuitive genius. And that's not something you can teach, but it's something you can kill with an overload of information. It's something you can drown in excessive drilling and excessive practice. It's something you can, as it is, children have the least autonomy of anybody in the society. It's like they're compelled to go along with their family's frame of reference. And so it's like that no HP like your son is going to fit in with any particular frame of reference because he doesn't like to be stuck being in any box at all. He wants to be able to bounce around and do lots of different things. He's got lots of different ideas. Lots of things interest him. And when things don't interest him, it's torture for him to pay attention to it. So you just got to let him be him and realize that he can be the best in debate without being one of those crazy kids, right? Remember those crazy Harvard Westlake kids who were running those policy cases at Marlboro? When I walked out of that, even though we lost that round, I thought I was licking my chops. Why? Because they're trying to get by purely on round mechanics at the expense of argumentational stoutness. they will lose to me. And they will lose to Jeffrey. And it's not because because look, if you're all the time practicing the precision of your mechanics, then you're not focused on the precision of your argumentation, or the depth of the argumentation, or the correctness thereof it. You know, for example, that team was fine running a clearly non-topical NAID counterplan as their AF in Octas because why? It was strategically smart in the sense that if we had prepped out for something else, we would not have prepped out for that, no matter what we prepped out for. They were correct about that, and they got lucky. I hadn't yet taught my kid how to run a real topicality shell. So he said it was non-topical. We didn't put the full shell in, which is a theory argument requires a shell. So I hadn't gone over that with him, and he had 3 policy judges on the panel, and they all said, I would have voted for you, but you didn't put the shell. And so, you know, whatever. Shit happens. The point is, that's just like contempt on their part for the rest of their competition to think they're going to get away with that shit. The hell they will. It's also weak. Contemptuous debating like that is weak because you're assuming you're not going to come across anybody who's smart enough to call bullshit.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just kind of, I mean, I do see he has some talent in debate, so it kind of frustrates me that he still wants to do all the other things as well, and he knows that, I don't know, I mean, right now he tells me the most interesting subject in school is physics. All the other things is just horrible.
All right, well, I mean, just let him bounce around. What you'll find is that the thing he persists in consistently is debate, probably, because the great thing that debate has that probably other things don't have quite as well established is this zero-sum competition ability to ascertain how good you are compared to others. It's nice to know that you are not something vague like an A student, but something specific like you made all those other people lose. That's meaningful because then your victory proves you're actually better at the thing than the other people. Whereas in a class, if I get 100% on a test and you get 90% on a test, I don't necessarily think that means I'm more knowledgeable about it than you, because I know from my own experience that often I mess up on tests even though I totally know the answer. I just go too fast, I miss a word or whatever. So I don't put a lot of faith in those things.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just kind of hard to see, like him, doing this and that and everything. And
okay, but you're not really trying to get him less work, are you?
What do you mean less work?
You don't want him to spend less time total working on stuff. You just want to have him spend more time on fewer things.
Right. So I mean, in my book, that's the way to get to be excellent.
Yes, and if everybody grew through the same approaches, you'd be right. It would be the way to be excellent for you. But it's not the way to be excellent for him, and he's not going to attain excellence in the same fashion as you. For you, excellence is about precision and mastery. You've got an instrument that you've mastered to the maximal ability you could possibly master it, so much so that you play in the LA Philharmonic. Now, that is not the kind of genius your son is going to have. Your kind of genius is like Yoda kind of genius. Practice, and then you get perfect at something. His kind of genius is like showing up and talking Yoda into making you a sandwich.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Yeah, no, I get it. It's just frustrating. So do you think we should start to prep for the next case?
I mean, I would like to debate one more on this topic if we can get one in. I think there should be one. Is this November, December? Yeah, okay, all right. We probably should.
Yeah, I don't know if there's more because, okay, so he has his block, what is that called, block, I mean, final week, next week, it's all the finals that's happening. So I guess we can do something, I don't know, the weekend after that?
Yeah, sure, we'll figure it out.
Okay, okay. So probably for this weekend, it's just English stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and Chloe, yeah, I'll keep working on her. She needs it more than Jeffrey does. Okay.
Why don't you listen to me? Don't you understand? She doesn't. She's made it very clear to you that she does not want to do that. Why are you still convinced that it's a good idea to force her?
Okay, I agree with you.
Okay, all right.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye. Thank you for putting up with me. Bye. Anti-polar. Boy, she is lucky I'm anti-ignoring, huh?
Yeah.
How frustrating. You know, this conversation started with, you know, Chloe really doesn't want to do any kind of speech or debate stuff. Oh, well, then you shouldn't make her do it. Okay, so I should talk to her more. No. No, you shouldn't. And the whole thing about her son, too. It's like, well, you've got to do it my way, you know. But that's just dumb to do it that way because he's not that way, you know. He's not you.
Right.
Thanks, Vincent. I have that conversation all the time with this woman. I have this conversation constantly. She's always calling me to ask advice about her kids, which she then consistently, without exception, ignores.
Each time.
Every time she calls, I tell her the same thing, and she just continually ignores what I say, and then calls and talks to me again. I guess hoping that this time she's going to get a different answer. She's got to be ESTJ. She is so ESTJ.
Mm-hmm.
She's a very nice ESTJ. I love the way that she just takes on immediately, without any hesitation or complaint, the job of like making sure that I remember things and making sure that that I told her one time, you know, she's like, so how many hours do I owe you? I was like, I don't know. You're supposed to keep track of that, aren't you? She's okay. Yeah, I'll keep track of that. Okay. It's like she probably was sort of indifferent to the thing, though she still calls me and asks me to confirm how many hours, you know. So I like them. I really do like that family a lot. They're one of my favorite families of my education career. I would put the Doshes up there. David Dosh, Danielle Dosh, and Kevin Dosh, their dad, and what's her name Dosh, their mom, whose name I don't remember for some reason. But, you know, we went over to their house sometimes for like parties for the debate team and stuff. But I really like the Hueys.
Me too.
You know,
Nice people.
the dad's name is Louis Huey. It's not really Louis Huey, but that's what I think his name is. And the mom's name, the mom always says, this is Shawa, I think her name is. But I always call her Jeffrey's mom. That's her name as far as I'm concerned.
That's what I call her also.
Say, listen up, Jeffrey's mom. But I am just grateful to her, frankly. I'm grateful to her for letting me at least voice, and for not just letting me, asking me about it a lot, you know, about my opinion about how to deal with her ENTP kid, because I feel like I have useful information to share with her that will help her deal with her ENTP kid better and will help her ENTP kid be more understood in that environment and be able to do some sort of self-meta work. Jeffrey's a lot different than I am, you know, in some ways. He's much, much less expressive. So, like, he's a much less dynamic speaker than I am. And it's something we worked on last night a little bit because he has to do this dramatic reading of one of the poems from that book, which, of course, much to my shock and somewhat dismay, is actually pretty good. Sort of. I mean, it's not terrible. I'm shocked too, but it's not terrible. In fact, I'm kind of digging it. And I understand why it's formatted the way it is too, and I think it works kind of. It certainly is. I've retracted my need to shit on it for sure. Which goes to say, don't judge a book by its cover and don't judge the inside of a book by its formatting. Eric, what is the point behind spreading? Just seems like a horribly confusing way to convey words. Well, the answer to that is in top level debate, people flash their cards over to each other. So flash drive or email chain their cards over. So if I tell you, okay, here's my roadmap for my case, I'm going to do, let's say it's the first neg case in an LD speech. I'm going to go over framework, and I'm going to read 2 cards in framework. Blancy A and Smith D. And then I'm going to do an A-spec block. I've got Hendrickson B, Hendrickson C, and David X. And then I'm going to do a solvency block. My first 2 cards, Smith's H and J, cover impacts. My second 2 cards, cover links. And then lastly, I'm going to do an analytic for a voter. Now you flash all those cards over to the people. So you've told them what you're going to be arguing. You're going to be arguing that they're wrong on framework, and the reason they're wrong is going to be expressed in the tag of the cards you send over. Prefer my framework because, and then you read a card that says that. And then prefer my framework also because, or unprefer his framework because, and then you read a card. So essentially, before the person even starts the speech, the judge and the opponent know that he's going to answer framework on a comparison argument that compares the 2 frameworks against each other and says this one is better than this one because it subsumes, for example, and on an appropriateness framework, on an appropriateness argument. So it says my framework is more appropriate to this topic than his framework is appropriate to this topic. I'm going to attack it on those 2 grounds. You know that already. And then on the A-spec block that he's going to argue that we should vote neg because the AF didn't specify an agent in his first affirmative speech even though he ran a plan. And there's going to be like 3 or 4 cards on that about how it's impossible to make determinations on advocacies without knowing the agent because the implementation is really where the detail, the devil's in the details, basically. So they already know you're going to make those arguments before you've started the speech. They know what arguments they made, what blocks they have down on the flow, and the neg has told you, I'm going to be on case, I'm going to respond on case here with this, and here with this. And then I'm going to have off case arguments, which is to say, I'm going to try to generate offense on my own without responding to his points with this card and this card. This card's going to make this argument, this card's going to make this argument. So everybody knows what's being argued before the actual speech happens. Then when the speech happens, the reason people spread is they're trying to get through the cards as fast as possible. It's presumed, since they've been flashed over, that everybody can read the card themselves and that everybody can read the card as fast as I can read it out loud. So I can read it out loud as fast as I want, as long as I'm clear, because people aren't even listening to me, really. They're reading along on their own laptops on the card. Now, the thing about spreading is, spreading should only be used when you're reading cards, because it's only strategically advantageous then. When you're not reading cards, when you're making analytics, which is to say, now here's why you should vote for me, and you're explaining it, but it's not, you're reading an expert or something, right? Or when you're reading tags, which is to say the key thing to be taken away from the thing I'm about to be read, or when you're flow pacting, which is to say, now having read that, this is the impact that you should take away, Judge, from evaluating the arguments on your notes here. Then you should go regular speed or even slow because you want to really hammer home your points. So a good debater will bounce back and forth between spreading and not spreading at the top level. And they will only spread on cards, and they will also recognize the fact that even at the top level, in Lincoln Douglas anyway, there are some judges who don't like spreading. So it's typical before every round for the judges for any debater who thinks they might want to spread, to say, are you comfortable with speed? Is how the question is phrased. I always tell them, yeah, do whatever you want. You know. But the other thing is, I don't ask them to flash me the cards. I've only regretted that once. There's been one occasion when I regretted in a policy round for them to decline being on the email chain, because they actually did outpace my ability to flow it, and I just couldn't. I was really struggling to keep up. But yeah, even when people spread, I expect myself to be able to listen to them spread and write down all the key warrants without reading the card. And all good debaters expect themselves to be able to do that. So you shouldn't have to read the card. The card's really there for you to reference after the fact during prep. You check your warrants, and then it says, you flowed the thing listening to it, and it says, whatever. I mean, it depends. Some people do it different ways than others. You read along with it, you float listening to it. If you don't have the cards, though, and people are spreading, then that means you're saying, I can flow this. As a judge, I like to say that. I can flow whatever you can bring. You can't go too fast for me. But, that's why spreading occurs. It's a tactical or strategic thing in a competition debate that is not about communicating persuasively. It's about getting out all the necessary argumentations you need to on the flow. If somebody else has run a lot of different arguments and got a lot of stuff established on the flow, and you drop any of those, then they can extend them across the flow. So if I drop one of your arguments, which means I don't respond to it at all, then my opponent gets to say silence equals assent. That means he agrees with it, it's true, and we can impact all of the impacts from our mutual agreement about my point. So completeness of coverage is of the essence, and that means speed is of the essence. You can't spend too much time reading your card out loud, especially when you don't need to. As long as you get it all read, you can reference any of the arguments made in it. Yeah, bit by bit. I don't usually make a lesson of it, but I reference parts of it. Some students I have taught more directly about it. No, it's not silence equals consent. This is funny, Grass Eater, you should say that, because this is what I tell all the kids, too. When I announce this, listen, in debate, silence equals assent. Now, here is what I don't want to hear any of you ever say. I have heard many debaters say this. Please do not be one of them. Silence equals assent is not the same thing as silence equals consent. Okay? Silence definitely does not equal consent. Silence does equal assent in debate, which means your refusal to respond to something means you agree with it. Since you didn't give any response to saying that you disagree with it, you agree with it. Silence equals consent means it's never possible to rape somebody who can't vocally object, which is not correct. You are not the first person to do that. Like every other debater in the world has done that. You're right, Rachel. I like that, Jack.
Yeah, they did a good job, Weed Mart.
It's jacuzzi. That's Jack plus juicy. So yeah.
Yeah, it is Jack and Juicy.
And see, this is why it's important to have structure too, Because if you have a structured speech, there's a reason why silence equals assent. In other words, if I said something in my opening case, I say I have 3 contentions: contention 1, contention 2, contention 3. Then you have a rebuttal speech, and you go, well, here's my response to your contention 1. Here's my response to your contention 2. And you forget about contention 3. Then I have my next speech. My next speech is designed for me to respond to your responses, right? So we go, well, I said 1, he said anti-1, now I'm saying anti-anti-1. I said 2, he said anti-2, now I'm saying anti-anti-2. I said 3, he didn't respond to it. So I don't have any response to anti, which means we have to assume he agrees with it, and we're going to extend it across the flow. What that means is, now that we know that we're in agreement on this, I'm going to begin impacting it and telling you why it's important. And he can't argue on this chain any longer because he dropped it in his rebuttal speech. He can't then make his rebuttal in the next speech because I had to know what his rebuttal was before this speech in order to do my anti-antis. And since he didn't allow me to do that, and I still need to continue on that line of reasoning, I have to continue as though he agreed. I'm not responsible to come up with a reason why he disagrees with this, and since he didn't provide one, it means he must agree with it. That happens if you have a structured debate that's got a limited number of speeches, a finite number, and they last a finite amount of time, and that's where the real skills start to develop. Is because you have to determine which arguments are most important, not just you gotta find ways to attain voters, reasons to vote for you. Acquiescence agreement. That's the meaning in debate. Acquiescence agreement. She gave her assent to the proposal. So, if I say, and this is how a lot of public policy stuff is decided. For example, if there's a store near my house and they want to sell liquor, then there's a hearing held somewhere, and there's a public announcement put up for application for a liquor license, public hearing here. The public can object if they want. And since they've announced it, and they've made it clear that if you want to object to it, you can come and object to it. And if nobody shows up to object to it, that means everybody agrees that it's okay that it be put there. We have to operate as though that were true. Because they had an opportunity to object, nobody objected. We have to presume silence equals assent in that instance.
You on the screen, Capio. Oh. Mommy and Daddy love Capio. Yes, Capio. The P and the P. Mommy and Daddy love the P and the P.
Well, I mean, the point is, I think that Joey is making is there's a couple of meanings of assent, but the key point of ascension is that it's agreement, but doesn't necessarily have to be explicit. So there's tacitly assenting to something. If I'm standing next to you and you're making claims for both of us, and I don't say anything, then I'm tacitly assenting to those claims. So if Rachel and I go into a store and Rachel says, well, now listen here, storekeeper, Eric and I think that that you're a horrible person because your shoes are of a cheap and sultry brand. And I just am silent. Well, she's just made a claim that I agree with this statement. So it's reasonable then to assume that I do if I don't say anything to object to it, since I'm right there and have the opportunity to object to it. But that doesn't mean that I've consented to anything. So just because to say that I tacitly assented to it in that instance is to say the correct interpretation of my opinion, given the amount of data in evidence, is that I agree with it. Because if I had disagreed with it, why didn't I voice that? And if the next person is going to operate on in response to that claim is about both of us. That other person is not going to be the one to parse out that claim and say, don't speak for both people, because he doesn't know if she speaks for both people or not. And so that's the responsibility of the person being spoken for in that instance. But you can see how in various circumstances in life, silence does equal assent. And it's a necessary thing, because if we required people to consent sometimes, it would make it impossible for anything to ever happen. For example, the liquor license. If we required everybody to come and consent to the liquor store being there, then they'd have to actively voice their agreement. But if we give them ample notification that a meeting is occurring and ample opportunity to voice their objections, and they choose not to, then we conclude that they assent to it even if they don't like it. And that's the difference between assenting and agreeing, really, you know? I've decided that I'd rather just abstain from this process than fight it. Means I assent to it, but don't agree with it. So there are plenty of other situations in which silence does not mean yes. Can I touch your boob? Silence does not mean yes. It's very different kind of circumstances, right? Rather than, this is our position on meow, and you don't correct them, then that's very different than actual physical world stuff. So assent is something that is not related to the physical world, whereas consent is related to the physical world. For touching boobs, you need consent. For speaking what somebody else's opinion is, you just need assent for most purposes. So, it's assumed that if a group of 3 people walk up to you, and one of them says, okay, we're here for meow, that, in fact, that person does speak for all parties. There's no reason to doubt it unless one of those parties objects to it, right? We have to operate as though the person who comes up with a group of people and says to speak on behalf of that group of people, that if nobody in that group objects to it, that we have to default to the fact that that's true. What is that for?
Your penis.
Oh, Ace of Swords. And it looks just like my penis, too, because my penis is kite-shaped. That's right. It's an odd shape for a penis.
Thank you.
Like a kite. Mm-hmm. All right, speak now or forever hold your peace. Now, ASSENT. ASSENT. So, right. If 2 people are getting married and you're at that wedding and the guy in the front says, speak now or forever hold your peace, and you don't say anything, then you are assenting to that marriage. Doesn't mean you like it. Doesn't mean you think it's going to last. Doesn't mean anything other than you don't object to it. And so we have to operate accordingly as though no objection was made. Yeah, great example. Great example, Grass Eater. Thank you for that. What do you think of people who stand neutral on some topics like politics or religion? Is it a bad thing? No, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think by and large it's a very good thing. I think most people should be neutral and ideally apathetic and not involved in politics. That all men are equal is a proposition which at ordinary times no sane individual has ever given his assent.
I was just going to go for the jack too.
Oh, here.
Thank you.
I didn't even know which one I was grabbing. I would say about that, Winston's mom, that
Oh, this is a nice nug.
that is a nice note. When people say all humans are equal or something like that, they don't mean. I mean, it's like they don't mean that they are equal in terms of status or ability. They don't mean that they are equal in terms of utility. They mean they're equal in terms of inherent worth. And what it means to say they're equal in terms of inherent worth is that they're equal before the law. That society's methodology of enforcing its values doesn't factor in differences between individuals when making its decisions. So Karma's Pimp asked an interesting and revelatory question. If you don't report a crime, is that assenting? No, because the crime is not a statement. And it is not the case that being silent in the presence of any statement means you assent to it. That is not the case. So in the example I gave, Rachel and I walked into the liquor store, and Rachel said, "He and I think meow 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 meow." So in that case, it's assent if I don't say anything. If she says, "I think meow 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 meow," me saying nothing has nothing to do with assenting to it. Because in that case, we're not in any disagreement, right? She says that she thinks that. I agree with her. She thinks that. No problem. Like if it happens to be a president trafficking. I mean, well, there is such thing as aiding and abetting. So, it's like there's no obligation to report a crime you see. But if you aid and abet the criminal, that's a different matter. So, in other words, you can't be held responsible for a failure to act, but you can be held responsible for your actions. I mean, in some circumstances, you can be held responsible for a failure to act, but it's for reasons other than native to being a human being. So it would be situational or job-based duties. The reason silence equals assent in a debate is because we're disagreeing about the central thesis. So, somebody's affirming the central thesis, somebody's negating it, and that means they're in disagreement about the topic. But it doesn't mean they're in disagreement about absolutely everything. So, a lot of times they'll have the same value. Okay, we both have the value of justice here. That means we both agree that whatever best upholds justice is the thing that should win the round. And maybe additionally, we even have the same definition of what justice is. We use a principled, rights-based calculus, that which best respects rights or upholds rights is most just, let's say. Well, then we have another point in which, let's say the value criterion is my opponent says we should determine justice by that which violates the fewest rights, and the other person says we should choose that which best preserves rights from being violated. Now, those are slightly different wordings. The two parties in the cross-examination may very well agree, or in the speech may very well make the statement that they fundamentally mean the same thing, and so we should agree that we agree not only on our value but also on our value criterion. However, let's say in the first neg speech, the neg says, well, the way I phrase the value criterion is to preserve rights that are currently being violated, and that's preferable over not taking an action that violates very few rights or the least amounts of rights, because mine solves for existing problems. Now, as the neg, you may say, I'm required to take the status quo. How do I solve for existing problems? Well, what I'm saying is, in the status quo, these existing problems are solving themselves, but his action will prevent them from completing that. So you should prefer my value criterion. Now, in the next speech, the AF has a chance to say, look, Judge, our value criterions are fundamentally the same. It's prefer rights. And he's quibbling over a minor differentiation. Or the AF has a chance to say, no, actually, prefer my interpretation, because the thing being advocated is a course of action. And the impacts to rights should be evaluated because we just need to check to make sure that it passes the rights calculus test. Not that that's not an impact in and of itself. That's a precondition to meet before you can do anything legitimate. You prefer my framework, or the AF might drop it, might drop the VC argument, not respond to it at all. At which point we have to assume then he agrees with it, right? Because he had his chance to answer and he didn't answer any of the possible ways he could have answered, and so we have to move forward in the round with or without him. So that's why he assents to it. It's because we're arguing about something that the issue of when somebody assents comes up. It doesn't occur just in regular life. You don't agree with everything you're near that you don't comment upon.
I just have to say, Kitty looks great on film.
She does. And you know what? The camera puts on 10 pounds because she looks even better in person. My eyeballs jump out of my face at least twice a day, stick to the side of her fur, and I have to go over there and find them, put them back in.
How Tim Burton.
It's just, oh my gosh, your beauty is constantly detaching my eyeballs again for the first time. Do human rights even exist anymore? I mean, I've seen some people go through some crap, and others are a part of it, like it's not even a person that's doing it. The thing about rights is, it's a word that we use to talk about certain kinds of duties and or expectations with certain very specifically limited qualities to them. So something is a negative right to the extent that it confers a universal duty upon everybody else to not take action in a certain way. So, for example, I have the negative right to free speech. What that means is my expressing my opinions doesn't justify violence on your part or the state's part, right? Which means my freedom of expression means it confers a universal duty onto everybody to not take actions that coerce me away from exercising my free expression rights. And that's a universal right accordingly, because it is true that it's never okay to punch somebody in the face because they express their opinion. So you mad bro says, but what if your view hurts me though? Well, it probably will hurt you. And that's one of the key assumptions or foundationals that we all agree on fundamentally in order to live in a civil society, is that metaphysical pain doesn't justify physical punishments, usually. So, in other words, I may have hurt your feelings with a mean comment, but that doesn't justify the government fining me or you punching me in the face. Have you ever tried outfits on Capillo? I don't think she wants to wear clothes.
No.
You don't still see yellow caution lights, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's surprising. Well, I know what the problem is. Oh, right. I forgot. Okay, so I need to meow the meow. We're going to add an image. We're going to put this. And then we're going to put this. We're going to put this. And then, where's my kitty meow? Maybe it's in downloads. Is it in downloads? Where did I get that picture from is the question. Oh, there it is. Here we go. Okay, I think we're going to put this one, maybe? Put a different one behind me. Yes. Very sensual kitty friend. So deep in your sensuality that I can't even begin to believe how sensual your sensuality is. It makes me want to stroke my tenderness bone. Let's see.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now we only see Kitty's ear.
Okay, well, I'm going to fix that right now. I'm going to fix that like nothing's ever been fixed before. The problem is this picture is too large. And I have to make it smaller, like this. Bit by bit, slowly, slowly, Eric made the picture smaller, until finally everyone was satisfied. Hooray, they said. We're so proud of you, Eric. Thanks, guys, he said, in reply.
You're so woke.
Thanks. How about now?
Oh, such a kitty. Just ears.
Just ears?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Now we can see, like, her eyes. Here.
Yeah, that's what you should see. Okay. So, there. I have never been here. Hello.
Ooh.
With AA.
She's like, her eye is just like, boom.
Hello, AA. Have you been here before? And Nathaniel C. says, hello, Zandy. AA says, I've never been here. You Mad Bro says, sup, lawnmower. AA says, please inform me. Nathaniel C. says, I'm here to learn about lawn work as well. Utter Self says, I have something to share. I did a host Eric thing, accidentally stumbled upon an INFP lady, gave her an NE test, and spent another 9 hours TI explaining what the lack of conscious NE usage means. That sounds troublesome.
That does.
Winston's mom, so I hear. That's what I hear from AA. Now, you should know AA, just be aware. Everybody who comes here who's new, who claims to be new, is immediately suspected of not being new because we have our fair share of, scoundrelly culprits who like to pretend to be new here and blank slates, but really they come in with a strong anti-Eric position, you might say. Desire to troll and or insult, belittle, besmallen, emasculate, or otherwise do damage to yours truly, host Eric. I know. Shocking to hear, isn't it? People not liking you, Eric? Yes, it's true. I have my share of enemies out there. Kitty, god damn it. Can you open that for Kitty?
Yeah, sure. She's over there.
She's scratching the door.
Oh my gosh! Inside, outside kitty!
That's great, AA. I'm glad you're not here to be a negative person. I don't believe in negative people, just negative words. Okay? You know, here at Talking with Famous People, we want each one of our chatters to feel like they are our very most important viewer. So, AA, let me just tell you this right now. Remember, AA, you are my most important viewer. Isn't that nice? Doesn't that make you feel good? Nathaniel C., I want to tell you something. You are my most important viewer, Nathaniel C., and I deeply value you. All right, let's see. Who else do I want to tell somebody? Here we go. Utter Self, I wanted to tell you something. Just don't tell any of the other people here, okay? This is a secret, just between you and me. Utter Self, you are my favorite viewer. Utter Self, deeply favorite. Okay, let's see. Winston's mom. Don't tell anybody else, but I have a secret to tell you. Okay? Winston's mom, you are my favorite viewer. Winston's mom, really? Okay, let's see. You mad, bro? I don't want you to tell Winston's mom or Nathaniel C. or Grass Eater or Utter Self or AA, but you are my favorite viewer. Okay? And, Grass Eater, I wanted to tell you something. Don't tell anybody else, but Grass Eater, you are my favorite viewer of all the viewers that view this viewable video. Okay, so now that I've done all the requisite FE work, unfortunately, I've told everybody in private, so nobody knows that I told them all the same thing.
Oh.
They each think they're my favorite.
I'm so glad. That's a good parent right there.
I'm thinking, I'm smart. You see, I pulled each one aside privately. I told them that. And I know, I said, look, don't tell anybody else because they'll be jealous. So they're not going to tell anybody else. They're never going to figure it out. They're never going to learn that I was actually playing a trick. A lying trick. Don't play a lying trick. Yes, Nathaniel, see, I can help you make a big decision. I will take it seriously, listen to you, and give you my advice. Go ahead. Hit us. Why don't you join the Discord server and you can talk with your voice?
Oh, yeah.
Come to the Discord server. You can talk with your voice. You could speak with your you could speak with your tongue. Use your vocal cords, your diaphragm, your tongue and lips to speak with your voice, young man. I want to hear every bit of that nah, every bit of the th, every bit of the nyol, every bit of the c that comes out of your mouth, Nathaniel C.
Oh, hello, kitty pageant winner. Yes, it's you. Do you have fleas again? You've been at it all day. Do we have any more of that stuff?
Yes. We should put another one on it. Huh?
Okay.
Okay. Do you need butt injections in order to impress your crush because she says she needs protection? Does she need protection from uninjected butts? And if so, why? Where did this sensitivity to uninjected butts come from? Oh, where did I put that stuff? Oh, where is that stuff? It might be over here in this drawer right here. I do not know it enough. I put it somewhere specific, you know? I did one of those things.
What about that, the little cubby with the key? Would you
It might be in there, I guess. It's not. So, I know what happened. I remember what happened. I said to myself, okay, now look, these things are expensive, but it's going to be a month until I use another one of them. So where am I going to put them? I know. I'll put them here. That's a good spot for them. So I remember exactly what happened. I just don't remember where here is.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay, so Nathaniel, see, if you already have one cheek fully injected with butt injections, first I want to know, what were your butt injections filled with? What did you get your butt injected with? Was it more butt? In other words, is the butt injection referred to where it's injected or what you're injected with? That's important to answering this question. And second of all, if you have been injected in one butt, is it already not proportional with the other butt? Or did that injection make that formerly non-proportional cheek proportional with the other cheek? If the latter choice, then I would say you can stop the butt injections right now.
How could that be?
It might be in that little basket up on top. Let me try to get that down and we'll see. That seems like a place
Oh. Yeah.
I don't see those dumb things. I don't.
It's so
I don't.
wild because I remember you telling me too. You're like, we're gonna keep this because we're gonna use it.
Yeah, we will, but maybe we should just assume that now is not the best time to look for them.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. There it is. No, it's not it. Looks kind of like that, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it is. Alright, I'm about ready to wrap this up anyway. Thank you, Winston's mom, for the wonderful presents.
Yes, thank you.
I will be using those to accomplish various things. Sausage wastes. Huh. You might just want to get complete butt replacement surgery, where they replace your butt with a butt sliced off of a carcass. I broke both my legs and now I'm not able to walk around and hang with my girlfriend anymore. I suspect she is dancing with my other friends. I don't know what I should do. Well, you know, you learn to dance on your hands. So you just need to do a handstand and cha-cha-cha away. Make sure you got a good stiff straight cast on your legs so that you don't have to worry about them flopping back and forth while you're dancing on your hands. It's going to take some upper body strength and also a good sense of rhythm. I suggest taps on each finger so you can do interesting things like tap 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 as you're dancing on your hands. Remember, each step you're going to have to lift your weight of your body and your legs. So it's going to take a lot of upper body strength. I suggest starting with pull-ups. Then go to chin-ups, then pull-ups again, then chin-ups again, then bench pressing, then curls, then more bench pressing, then more curls, then more pull-ups, then more push-ups. Okay? The end. Don't forget to eat plenty. Otter Self has it right. You know what? If you really want to know what to do AA, I want you to check out a video by Raul Diego in which he talks about how to paint with your intuition. You need to dance with your heart, just like Otter Self says. So well said.